All right, I'm getting the signal from our producer. We're all set. My name is Sumdiener, and we're all set to get started with Destiny of an Emperor by EvilAsh25. Take it away.
Hello, and this is Destiny of an Emperor. If you have not heard about this game before, it is one of the first RPGs made by Capcom, and they brought it over to the US. And it's a fun RPG. It's got elements similar to the Dragon Warriors, but it's got kind of a unique battle system, and it moves really quickly. It's a really fast-moving game, fast-moving speedrun. We're going to be struggling to keep up with it ourselves, just talking about it as we go, but we're going to try our best. To the right of me, I have Anatoleu. He's going to be helping navigate my notes here and commentate. And then Haktical, he's also going to be helping out commentate with me.
Yep.
So we're going to start out here. I'm going to erase my practice save here. And then we're going to need the file name.
Sure thing. Just give me 1 second to force refresh here just to make sure we've got the most up-to-date one. And the winning file name here is, I think this is pronounced Pursue Lubu. Yep. P-R-S-U-L-U-B-U.
P-R-S-U.
Yeah, we might see Lubu once or twice.
Yeah. He's been known to show up in this game.
All right, perfect spelling.
All right, there we go. Well, thank you for donating for the names. It's a good name. I like it. All right, so we're going to start our file here, and then when I hit faster, it's going to be the start of the run. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's do it.
So this game is actually based on a manga that was based on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms novels. So the story is very similar, but it does have some deviations, especially towards the end of the game, as far as it compares to the Romance of the Three Kingdoms novels. But they take some liberties, but it made it for a better game in the end. So first off, we're actually going to be doing a glitch. So we're going to make Lube here our tactician. We'll be explaining that here in a bit. But we're actually going to be killing off some of our party and death warping.
A little bit of flashing lights here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Because we have no food.
Yep. So we're actually going to be death warping. These fights are a little slow to death warp with, so I'm just going to run from them for now. So it's a good time to talk about run chances. So run chances in this game are generally pretty good. You usually have better than 50% chance to run, especially against these generic bandit forces, which is about like a 70% chance. So we're going to go over to this little battle here in the gate. Hopefully we get there. All right. So here's this guy. He's yelling at us here. His name is Zhang Zhao. And we're going to fight until we see both Guan Yu and Zhang Fei die here. And so what this glitch is going to do is it's actually going to erase a bunch of generals from the game, including this guy in the front. So hitting B right here is what just erased them.
See ya.
They're gone.
They're gone. So next time we go to this battle, that guy in the front there will no longer be in the game.
And it does erase some friendly generals also. So
yes.
Ash is going to walk out here into this town. He's automatically revived. And there's a NPC here that'll give him a little bit of starting money and some starting food. And there's usually 2 generals over to the right-hand side that will join you. And they're now gone from the game. So you won't be seeing them.
Yeah, it's like the first 10-ish.
Yep. So they're like right here, over here. They're gone. Talk to the horse for good luck. And we're on our way. So just like in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, this is the Yellow Scars Rebellion. So that's the first kind of chapter of this game where we have to defeat them, and they're kind of stationed down at different camps and at the castles. And because we used that glitch that erased a bunch of generals from the game, it's going to make this section a breeze, pretty much.
Got our first pickup here with Mija. So we're going to be picking up many party members. We kind of have our main 3 people, like as far as characters go, with Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei. But we will be going through many other party members as the game goes on here.
This game has something like 80 total generals that can join your party. It's a lot.
150.
150. Okay, even more than I thought.
But unfortunately, only 70 of them can be in your team at once.
Oh, maybe that's the number I was thinking. Yeah.
So you have to get rid of some of them to get more. So now we're going to go over to this gate over here, which normally has 3 pretty strong generals at it. But in this case, with our glitch, you're going to find out that it's going to have quite a bit less.
Yeah, so the game at this point intends you to kind of not be fighting some of these right now. You're supposed to kind of go around and figure out, who the yellow scarves are, and there's a couple battles around. There's like a castle up north and stuff. And yeah, instead we can just come right here and take out this one single rebel force.
Yep. They're guarding this camp for us. So at this part of the story, you have to take out these camps and clear them out, and then take over the castle at the end. So we're actually going to be picking up some items, hidden items. So there's an axe here.
That'll be a recurring thing throughout the run. Hidden items both in pots or just lying on the ground in some spots. Some that are very not so obvious. So be on the lookout. We'll point them out.
Yeah, we pick up a lot of those throughout the run too, but it's really, really helpful because we actually get a lot of our most powerful weapons throughout the run by just picking them up off the ground or finding them next to wells.
Yeah. All right, back to the camp that we started at the first time, and we will see somebody missing.
Yeah, it's going to be a little easier now because the most powerful general from the original fight is no longer here.
Yep, so now's a good time to talk about the battle options. So we got these, this all-out option which we're using, which is basically all it does is gives physical attacks to the enemy. However, all your attack targets are always random. So while it's about like 6 to 7 times faster to do all-out than do single turns, which we'll be doing later on. But it's still, as long as we can do it in the speedrun and not die, it's always going to be faster to all-out when we can.
Yeah, when you play the game casually, you use all out a lot for like kind of your normal encounter grinds and things like that. And then a lot of the boss fights, you're probably taking it and inputting your commands directly. And we'll be doing kind of a balance of that for the speed run, but when you can, you want to kind of go to all out just because it is so much faster.
Yeah, and the other battle options there, you can do a targeted attack. You can do tactics, which are sort of what most RPGs would be, like a magic kind of system that you'll be seeing a lot later. You can defend, you can use items, so sort of a standard RPG action set.
So that's the case, we got a surprise on the enemy. It's about I think a 1/16 chance to get surprised by or surprise an enemy in a battle. So it's nice to get. It's a little bit more text, but it's much better than sitting. So when you do fail to run, as you saw earlier, it's really slow because the enemy takes its turn one at a time, and it's like super slow to fail a run.
And it's worth noting that can happen on what I'll call boss fights. I mean, this game is sort of a series of linear boss fights, really, with these random encounters in between, but it can happen on those scripted fights also.
Yeah, this is always funny because the game kind of intends you to come at this from a different angle where there's a kind of hidden cave behind the castle here. And so it wasn't visible before the fight, but we'll be able to see it after the fight.
Yep, so that fight should have had 2 more generals in it as well that are now deleted from the game. So as anatoleu said, here up in the right, you see that cave that we're supposed to go to. We don't need to because we deleted enough generals where we can safely all out this fight as well.
Yep. Yeah, this it's really only this first chapter of the game with the yellow turbans, the yellow scarves, that we have a kind of such a strong glitch to exploit. The rest of the game we've got to play a little bit more fairly.
Yeah, and basically how that glitch works is that when you back out of an action, it tries to restore any tactics points that have been used by previous characters, and because Liu Bei is the only one left alive, it doesn't really know how to handle that, and so it kind of goes through some sections of memory that it shouldn't really be writing to and zeroes them out.
Yeah, so now we're ending the chapter here. We just got to talk to the alien king here, and we found out that Liu Bei is now going to be leaving our group. So unfortunately, we'll be losing our actually strongest guy at the moment because he has the most soldiers under him. But thankfully, he has a son, and he's going to join right here, Liu Feng. So thankfully, he's just about as strong. He's a little quite not as intelligent, but he's still a pretty good general at this point in the game.
Yeah, so to just generally talk about stats a little bit, every general has a strength stat, which is used to kind of calculate their melee damage. They have an intelligence stat, which controls, if they're a tactician, it'll impact what tactics they can learn. and it will also affect their success rate at tactics and their effectiveness at tactics. And additionally, like some weapons have hidden requirements that might require certain strength or intelligence to wield effectively. There's also behind the scenes like a hidden agility stat that we'll talk a little bit more about later. And also, as you've seen, the soldiers is sort of your hit point effectiveness, but it's basically how much army you have underneath you. And we'll point out a couple interesting mechanics of that once we get to fights where the numbers get a little bit bigger and more interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to think about the hit points as soldiers. There's a lot of those kinds of things where it's taking like sort of a basic JRPG format, and then it's like soldiers are hit points, magic is tactics, and but the kind of mechanics sort of work just the way you would expect. In any SRPG.
We're all previously Dragon Warrior runners and Dragon Quest, so we kind of refer to them in that format, and we'll actually refer to some of the tactics in those names as well, and hopefully they'll make them a little bit easier to understand for some people.
Yeah, the tactician mechanic and the tactics, how the tactics work, kind of not necessarily like in combat when you're using them, but how you're gaining tactics and how you're gaining tactics points and all of that. What tactics you have available to you in a fight. That's sort of a very unique mechanic to this game, is the tactician system, and it'll be very important throughout the whole run, both in terms of gaining tactics points, in terms of having characters that know specific tactics at various points. Your tacticians generally have really high intelligence, so sometimes they're very useful to use to cast the spells because they're very effective, and it's sort of unique to this system.
Yeah, I'm not sure about pursuing Lu Bu, but I'm ready to pursue Lu Bu's horse.
Yeah, me too. The red hair, legendary red hair. So we're making our way to the next chapter. We found out that Dong Zhuo is the kind of the next guy that is claiming to be the emperor, and we have to go defeat him. But he has a kind of a crony guy that he's paid off. His name is Lu Bu. You might have heard of him before. So here in this tile is Chituma, just on that tile right there, just randomly. We'll find out actually that why we're supposed to know it's there later. But since we know it's there, we're grabbing it now. So what Chituma does when you have it in your inventory is it gives you 50% more agility for that character. So it's extremely important for a lot of the fights later on, where you need a character to go first, either to heal or to get off a tactic before the enemy goes.
And similar to Dragon Quest, turn order is pretty variable, so all the agility you can get, it caps at 255, but all the agility you can get will help mitigate some of that randomness.
You can see Ash is doing some kind of strange movement through the cave here, and that's because on certain cave tiles, especially the ones with the shadows, not all cave tiles with shadows, but some cave tiles with shadows, they actually do not have encounters. So by kind of hugging these northern walls in this cave, we're avoiding getting potential extra encounters.
Yeah, the queue is sort of the background tile set of the cave to determine which ones it works in versus which ones it doesn't. But it's a little bit hard to keep track of, so Ash knows where to go. And in some of the later caves, we'll have another way of avoiding encounters anyway, so...
Yeah, so in this cave, we're going to be picking up an optional item, which is the Gold Key, which is a string of quests that we're actually going to be using to recruit Lu Bu. It's optional, however, Lu Bu is such a good character that we want to recruit him, and we need him.
And if he's not with you, he's against you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we definitely want him on our side. So, Diener, if there's a good time now, we're just going to pick it up and do some shopping after this.
Oh, perfect. Got some donations coming in here. Tilo donates $100. So excited to finally see Destiny of an Emperor, an RPG LB. Good luck, EvilAsh. May your head remain firmly affixed upon your neck, and may your opponents have the opposite fate.
Thank you, Theo.
$50 from Nemo2342. Do not pursue Yuan Shao. Kill him early instead.
So it's a good time to mention that we do have a donation war to kill Yuan Shao or let him go early. So it's about 30 minutes into the run. So if you do want to donate for that.
Yeah, just a quick update on that. Let Him Escape is actually taking the lead at $115. Kill Him Early is at 50. So if we're looking at 30 minutes, and we've got about 15 more minutes. So if you want to either bolster Let Him Escape or Kill Him Early, now is your chance to make it happen.
A lot of supporters of the False Emperor here tonight. Yeah, interesting.
Got another important $10 donation from our friend Shadow Killer. Did someone agree to let Ash do his own audio-visual setup? Because if so, we're going to be here for a while. Wow. Good luck on the run, Ash. 2025 is surely the year you finish those Chrono Cross all character notes and start the grind. Shout out to Nat and Hack with their intensive knowledge commentary of this game. And of course, my good friend Big Deal Diener on the mic. Thank you so much, SK.
Thanks, SK.
Thanks,
Thanks,
SK.
SK. All right, so just doing a little shopping here. We're going to buy up some elixirs. So elixirs, what they do is they heal 100 soldiers. And the only way to heal outside of battle is to use these elixirs. You cannot use tactics outside of battle. So it's going to be pretty important to heal up here before a couple fights so we can just keep moving forward instead of backtracking to set it in again.
Yeah, and you'll notice it was Elixir A. There's A, B, C, and D, and they'll heal progressively more soldiers as we get throughout the run.
All right, so we're back at the first castle. We got to make our way back over to the cave again. Use the goal wings, just like wings in Dragon Warrior games. You can just wing back to castles. It's pretty convenient to get around the world.
Yeah, and you saw earlier Ash was even able to use them from inside the cave, which is very convenient.
Yeah, you don't need an outside spell in this game.
Yeah, there are a lot of the goal wings will let you warp to a lot of the major castles in the run, but there are a lot more locations, a lot of these little camps and similar locations that you cannot goal wing to. So there's a lot of sections that later on in the run that Ash will need to be doing a bunch of these smaller fights in a row to get to the next castle, so he can kind of wing around and restore his supplies and everything else. The overworld movement is definitely a significant part of the route.
Yep, so
One more visit to the cave.
one more visit to the cave. There's this guy here, his name is Guan Ping. We're going to be using him for quite a while. He's actually a pretty good general to have at this point in the game. So we're going to give him some equipment that we picked up for him. We're actually going to put him at the front of our party. And we're going to make our first tactician for the game here.
And we kind of need everything we can get because we've got a pretty tough fight coming up in a sec here.
Yeah, so setting a tactician will control what tactics you have available, what spells you have available in combat, and every tactician will learn various tactics, generally relative to their intelligence level, although some of the late game ones have a couple of options that we'll be switching between. Having a strong tactician gives you stronger spells to be available in combat. And also when your tactician levels up, or when you level up with a tactician and your tactician learns a new tactic, that's also how you gain more tactic points.
So we got the man himself, Lubu, here. So this is the first time we're seeing him, and first of many. But he is definitely the threat in this fight. So this is one of those times we are not going to use the all-out. We are going to focus our strongest attacks that we have on just trying to reduce his soldier count as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and in particular, getting it under 100 is a big threshold, so talk a little bit about soldier count. Your part of the damage formula includes the amount of soldiers that you have active on that character, and it's based on the number of digits of soldiers they have. So there's a multiplier that's basically the digits squared. So if you have 1 soldier or 1 digit worth of soldier, it's a 1 multiplier. If you have 2 digits, it's a 4 multiplier. If you have 3, it's a 9. So you can see how it sort of exponentially scales. So when you get an enemy or your ally to drop a digit, that's a huge change in power for that character.
Yeah, and Lubu has the highest strength in the game. He has 255 strength, so he definitely deals a lot of damage at this point.
Yeah, and so you can see Ash got him under 100, and then it's kind of safe to do the all-out, or safer to do the all-out.
Liru, on the other hand, he has a heal spell, but he's not really a threat once Lubu is gone.
Yep, so I have a feeling that won't be the last we'll see of Lubu.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, he still at least needs to tell us how to find his horse.
No, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we got to do a little backtrack here. The next section, we don't have basically any points where we can wing to, so we need to restore our tactics points so we can get to the next castle safely through the next section, which is going to be the Dongzhuo fight. So he's going to be, both him and Lu Bu are going to be in the fight. It's actually going to be more dangerous than the one we just fought.
And taking an inn is the only way to restore your tactics points, right?
Correct.
And no MP recovery items or anything like that here.
Nope.
Yeah, this game is generous in that it gives you a fairly affordable revive item, but it does not give you any MP tactic points, restore items at all.
Yeah, which will be, a consideration at various parts of the run because, we'll see coming up somewhat shortly, there are a lot of towns that are kind of a gauntlet in order to approach. So you expects you to do multiple fights in a row, otherwise you have to, back out to an inn, and it can be time consuming to do so.
Alright, one more axe out of one more pot here. This is helpful. It kind of makes it easier. Like, we don't have a ton of money here in the early game, so it's nice that we can find so many of these weapons sort of along the way to equip our army. I always like to picture that we don't just find one axe, we find like 500 axes in the pot. Yeah.
All right, so I picked up a new guy here. His name is Huohu. He's actually a tactician. He's pretty good. He's not too much better than the guy we're currently using. So we're actually going to be using him and putting him out front to kind of sacrifice him, let him take some blows for this next fight to make it a little safer.
Yeah, in general, similar to like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, there's sort of a targeting bias for the enemies, so they're generally more likely to hit characters in the front than they are in the back, although there's like some slot-specific rates, so... But in general, putting them up front just makes them more likely to, tank those hits.
Yep, so this is the first time we're going to get through these gates. So we're going to see this a lot during the run, is you have these gate fights with some kind of weaker generals that you just kind of usually all out, and then you get to the real fight at the castle.
Yeah, these ones are almost here just to like wear you out, essentially.
This is what I was referring to by being like sort of a gauntlet to approach a town, is you get these gate fights.
Fortunately, we bought those elixir A's in the town earlier, and so we can at least get healed up for the next fight, which Ash mentioned is fairly dangerous here. And it's going to be the same kind of thing where we are going to be focusing down the most dangerous general in the upcoming fight.
Yeah, so both generals are actually pretty dangerous, but Dongzhuo is going to be just slightly more dangerous to us at this point.
So you can see there, Ash's tactician just learned a new tactic and gained some tactic points for your army in the process.
Yeah, and it's always a random amount that you gain during level. I think it's 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah.
4 is most likely, then 5, and if you're really unlucky, you get only 3. But fortunately, usually over the course of the 25 levels or so, it works out okay.
All right, so we're all full for this fight here against Dongzhuo and Lu Bu.
Lu Bu again.
Yep.
Just can't get rid of this guy. All right, so again, we're going to be using the similar tactics. The one I'm using specifically is actually a fire tactic. It does fire damage to the enemy. The damage it does is based on your intelligence, and whether it hits is also based on your intelligence. So we want everybody that has a reasonable amount of intelligence to use it, and then Zhang Fei at the bottom here, he's actually going to be attacking or healing. So usually 2 rounds is enough to get Dongzhuo down enough where it's relatively safe to all out here.
Yeah, we've had pretty good hit rate on these.
Yeah, all of them hit, I think, or 1 miss.
I think it was 1 miss, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what the RNG in this run comes down to often is like, do your tactics hit, or do they not hit?
Yeah. Or their tactics.
Yeah, and their tactics as well, right? Yeah. So that's the big RNG kind of luck within the speedrun.
Yep, so that went really well. Nobody died.
Well,
Well, except for Huohu. Yeah, sorry. That was planned. That was planned. So we want Huohu to die. One, because we don't necessarily need him. Also, we're going to be avoiding a glitch here coming up, which is a bad one and good one. So here in this, this is actually the capital. We are going to use this gold key in this spot and find a gem sword.
yeah, this is the sister city to Melmond and Destiny of an Emperor.
Except for they rebuild this one eventually.
Yeah.
So we will be revisiting here at the very end of the game. This is actually where the game finishes.
Yeah, and then Ash traded that gem sword to the character that has Chituma because he wants that. Basically, we're going to be offering that in combat in order to recruit Lubu. And the sooner that we can offer the gem sword, the more likely that we can skip Lubu's action and recruit him and everything. So we want it to be on the fastest character possible.
Yeah, so you just have to picture Liu Feng will be riding around on the legendary horse, holding the sword up in the air, trying to get Lubu's attention.
On Lubu's own horse.
Yeah.
So here he is. So this is about a 50% chance that he actually accepts the sword or not. So how many times is it going to take this run?
I think third try.
Third try?
I'm optimistic. I'm going to say first try.
All right. Well,
We won't see a single what's that?
okay.
Can I pick the split the difference and say I predict 2?
Absolutely.
What's that?
That's that.
Oh, well.
So once Lubu does accept the sword, he leaves the fight, so it makes this pretty easy, just all out afterwards. So that's why we're kind of not bothering attacking the other generals, and we're just kind of staying defensive here.
Yeah, and the defense mechanic in this game is worth mentioning too, where unlike like a Dragon Quest game or something, where you hit defend and you're just defending for the turn, your character doesn't actually start defending until their action plays out. So if they're hit before they act, they take full damage until they actually, their defend text comes up.
Yeah, so we definitely find defending not as useful. You usually really only do it if you've got something else going on, or you're really in trouble and you're just trying to really play safe.
Darn, looks like we were all wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my record of this, I think, is 7 misses. That's a 50-50 shot, like I said, every time. I know other runners have had higher.
RPGs and failing 50-50s is definitely a thing. Looking at you, Bykill.
Oh,
Ooh, crit on
there you go.
There we go.
4th try. So he's going to actually tell us where Chituma is here once he joins us. By the way, if you go 8 yards west and 1 yard south, you can find his horse, but he doesn't say where from.
Yeah. So there's only so many places, I guess, up till this point we've been, so search all of them, I guess. But yeah, Lubu we've shown him the meaning of kindness, so...
Which is a shiny sword.
He's a changed man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. So now Lubu is going to be on our team, at least for a while.
Yep. So this is the first time we hit the full party members. So we're going to get 7 party members. So this is the first time we actually have to start worrying about what's called the 7-slot glitch. So what the 7-slot glitch is if there's a party member that learns a tactic in your 7th slot and learns a tactic on that level, there's a chance that it can overwrite some of the memory that overwrites chests and hidden pickups in the game, to the point that you can actually soft lock yourself. So if you overwrite one of the required story items, you can overwrite some of the really good weapons that you can find, even the legendary weapons. So it could be pretty bad.
Yeah, in particular, it basically changes the flag of whether you have picked it up or not. And so there may be things that you have not yet picked up, and it flags it that you have, and that you can't get a story item, for example, and that can be pretty bad. So we're going to really be trying to avoid that, but we also want to use it to make the game not realize we picked up a couple things that we want to get twice.
Yep. So you see now Blue Blue's he's got the most biggest army here of the group, so he's going to be leading for us. And like I said, he does the most highest strength in the game, so he's also going to be hitting the hardest for us as well.
And this is sort of a recurring theme throughout the run, where a lot of times you'll find a new character that's just better than the characters you have in your party, or has more hit point, more soldiers. And they don't always stay that way. They don't always scale up as well as the characters that you sort of carry with you throughout the game. But it's pretty common to recruit a new general that's just really good compared to who you're using.
One of the things that always throws me off the most playing so much Dragon Quest is when you get the club, that it's not like the weakest weapon, that it's better than the dagger and the axe and the flail.
Yeah.
Feels like it shouldn't be, but it's actually the best weapon we were finding up to this point.
Yeah, so weapons are sort of interesting in this game, where every weapon has like a visible sort of attack rating, but that doesn't really mean anything. There's a hidden value behind the scenes that controls what the weapon's effective strength is. And you can use the relative numbers as a guideline. So if a weapon says it has a higher attack than another, it's better. But the numbers themselves aren't necessarily meaningful.
Yep. So you, on the way up to this gate, you saw Ash was kind of staying by the water there, and that was intentional. The kind of random encounters you find are a little bit based on your proximity to mountains or water. And pirates will show up if you're by the water, and we have the highest chance of running away from them if we run into them. So we kind of purposefully want to encounter pirates if we can.
Yeah, it's only a 1 in 16 to fail to run from pirates. In general, run chances in this game are all relatively favorable. I think the worst one is
generals, which are
it's 10 out of 16, whatever that reduces to.
Yeah, 5/8. Which is still pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to fight Dong Zhuo again. Thankfully, he does not have Lu Bu on his side. He is on our side. So we can safely all out this one. Sometimes somebody dies, but it's not a huge deal. We have Resurrects. We actually have not had one party member die yet, which is uncommon, actually, for this part.
When Lu Bu went straight for Guan Yu in that last fight,
there he goes.
I was ready for it, but well.
We spoke too soon. Lu Bu is dead, but we will revive him.
Yeah, Resurrects are pretty helpful at the beginning of the game because they'll they'll revive, but then also give you 400 soldiers, which is a lot at the beginning. It becomes less useful later on as we get so many more soldiers and armies.
Yeah, Resurrects are also, as Ash mentioned earlier, relatively affordable in this game, so Ash will just need to keep track of how many he has and how many he's used at any given points, and he might want to restock some when he gets a little low. One other thing I'll talk about, while we're looking at this menu here, you can see there's money and there's also a food counter, and we mentioned at the very start of the run that's a flashing being due to being out of food. What was happening at that point was that Ash's generals were constantly taking damage, similar to a poison mechanic almost, by being out of food. And then you gain food at major victories and things like that, and it's really just not an issue at all. We'll end up with hundreds of thousands of food, but it's a little bit of a thing at the start of the game.
If you know where you're going, food isn't really an issue, because I think it depletes like 1 per step or something like that. So you can imagine by this point, it's going to be a while before we take 6,000 steps, and you get a lot of food from beating boss fights in this game. And there are a lot of boss fights in this game.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the first time we see the invite mechanic. So when you get to a new castle, what you do generally is you invite Liu Bei to the castle, and then you go talk to him. You find out what you're going to do next. So we're going to go talk to him. He's going to tell us, good job, go take a rest. And we're going to pop into the inn here. And now he's calling us again, so we got to go talk to him again. So we got to do one little shopping trip here. Going to buy some better weapons and armor.
Yeah, that invite mechanic is interesting, and it's one that can sort of trip you up casually if you're not really aware of what's happening, because sometimes it's just a hint as to what to do next, and other times it's like an actual required plot progression piece, so...
But we're always happy to see Liu Bei again, who is still our main character, right?
Yeah,
his name's all over the place.
All right, so we're actually not going to talk to him. We're going to talk to the guy next to him. He's going to tell us about Wan Shu. He's going to be proclaiming himself to be the Emperor.
Here we
And,
are.
He is the next bad guy, so this is probably a good last call for donations for that. We will cut it off fairly soon here.
There are those pirates we were talking about.
Yeah, we're still gonna kind of follow the water here.
Yeah, this game, obviously, like you can see it on screen, but like this game has really clean movement. It's very fast for an NES RPG. So also has very clean menus. The menuing in this game feels amazing. It's a really, really fun RPG to play in that regards.
All right, so now that we have Lubu on our side and we picked up some extra equipment, all these fights here in this section are going to be pretty straightforward, just all out. Sometimes somebody will get killed, but we got plenty of resurrects as well, so we are in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. There's a couple spots in the run here where you get to a more of a comfortable place where the boss fights get easier for a minute, and then there's some kind of jump in difficulty and you got to catch up again.
Yeah. And XP in this game is really just based on your total party XP. You don't have an individual XP per general or level per general, so there's not really a concern with like characters missing out if they die on a given fight.
You do hear the in jingle quite a lot in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fortunately every song and jingle in this game is excellent.
Yeah, it's very good. Alright, so we're up to Elixir Bees now.
Yep, just gonna be loading up Mija with a bunch of elixirs here. It's kind of helpful to the people who are kind of outside of the battles but hanging out in the bottom of your character list. Very helpful to just put your your consumables on them for quick menuing. And time to use the smoke pots.
Yeah, so Smoke Pot is just like Fairy Water in Dragon Quest games, so thankfully they also work in dungeons. We'll be using it a lot later, and it basically repels all encounters. It doesn't matter what level you are, it just repels them all, so extremely useful.
I'll see a lot of uses of them.
Yeah, the only downside is they do run out relatively quickly. So when you're traversing, I mean, we're going all across China, so there's a lot of overworld movement. There's a lot of a couple pretty long dungeons too. So you can go through them pretty quickly, but it's still a lot faster to go shopping and use them than it would be to go through all those random encounters. Because the encounter rate in this game it's definitely an NES RPG from 1989.
Yeah, it's basically a flat percent based on the tile type that you're walking on to get an encounter or not. So, you know, forest is more likely than plains, and mountains are more likely than forest. Kind of the same as like a Dragon Quest game or Final Fantasy game.
Yep. There are no encounters on the bridges though, so whenever Ash can put off using his smoke pot till the other side of a bridge, he's going to do it just to make them last that much longer.
Yeah, and so as you can see by the power of the smoke pots, inventory management becomes a very large part of the run. Like, this is the biggest driving consideration in this run, really, is just getting the items that you want and the characters that you need. Smoke pots and power pills are both going to be bought extremely heavily, and you only have so many inventory spaces on your characters, so add in gull wings and elixirs and resurrects, and you got a lot to carry around.
Yeah, and especially because of the resurrects, you don't end up with always consistent inventorying through different parts of the game, because sometimes everyone lives and sometimes everyone dies, and so you kind of got to keep an eye on it too. You can't just sort of get used to the way things always are.
So I'm going to go back here and take the in here. We took a little bit more than average damage on that last fight, so just to be safe through this next section so we can safely kind of all out, not worry about it. Alright, so coming up here, once we finish this first gate fight, Diener, we're going to call the Wanshu bid war.
Sure, now's your last chance if you want to change that.
Alright, so same deal as before. We got these generals here that are here to take our our soldier numbers down, beat us up a little bit. But we have elixirs that we bought for specifically this, so we don't have to go back and in again. Oop.
We were caught off guard.
Yep.
So this happens obviously in, you can see now in gate and castle fights as well. So in this one, it's no big deal. We're just going to all out anyway. It's no risk. But in some of them, if we get back attacks, it can be a problem in the later fights.
Yeah, tactics end up getting very strong, and if they get a chance to use any of those tactics early, it can really swing the way you have to play the fight.
Yeah, sometimes you end up going from, well, we had a plan to try to get advantage by going early in the round and kind of taking away their ability to do something strong, but then they could essentially do the same thing to us if they...
All right, Diener, we're calling it now.
All right, 1 second. Just going to refresh it one more time. Make sure we've got it up to date. With $115, Let Him Escape is the win.
Oh, nice. Okay. Thank you. So letting him escape is actually the faster option for the speedrun. So we're doing the speedrun option and not the story option. Yeah, so here I'm going to be changing my formation to actually purposely put my tactician in 7th. So we're going to see what this does later, but it's going to be very helpful for the rest of the run. So now we healed up, this Wanshu fight is pretty straightforward and easy. Every once in a while he'll get somebody, but as long as Zhang Fei does, well, actually it doesn't matter if Zhang Fei dies because we're going to let him go anyway. A requirement for actually killing him here is Zhang Fei actually has to have survived this battle because he's the one that stops him from escaping.
Yeah. It was also important that Ash came at this castle gate from the west side as well. It's a story, essentially there's a story reason where there's a weakness on the west side. So we actually reduced the defense of the castle by coming out from that side.
So he tries to run away, he says goodbye Guan Yu, but he's surrounded by Zhang Fei. He's gonna fight, let him go. Do we let him go?
I guess we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we let him go.
He ran away to Bohai. His brother, Huan Shao, is waiting there. So we will have to fight him again. Thankfully, we'll be much stronger when we do, and he'll be really easy to take out. And we'll get more experience at that point of the run, which is why it's faster.
Yeah, thank you for all the donations towards that vid war.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
So that fight you said was one that you were using the 7th slot glitch in, right?
Correct.
Oh, worth noting here, there's this hidden weapon here, the Trident, which is much stronger than anything else that's available at this point in the run. It's kind of just hanging out there on that random corner. But yeah, so the way the 7th slot glitch kind of works is that it's sort of a loop boundary issue where if the person in the 7th slot tries to learn a tactic, instead of kind of going like top down through the list, it kind of looks at like the 8th character and then the 9th character, and it's all garbage data that it's writing to, and then it ends up looping back around to the 7th character. So it's writing into some out of bounds space, and it only happens in that one specific slot.
Right. So now we're going to meet Huan Shao, his brother, and surprise, Lu
Off
Bu.
guard.
Lu Bu just betrayed us and joined the other side.
This is looking really bad.
Yeah, look how many soldiers they have.
Yeah, this is gonna be.
Oh no.
This is gonna be tough.
Oh man. Oh, okay.
That's actually nice of them to let us go.
Yeah, they're just taunting us.
Yeah.
All right, so that's obviously all scripted. That Lu Bu leaves you, and then they beat you up some and tell you to leave. So we're just gonna heal up here, and then we're gonna continue on our way.
Lu Bu is writing the essay of his life.
And we'll find that out later.
Yeah.
Alright, so this will be the first fight we're going to be using a water tactic. So water tactics are kind of weird in that you can actually only use them when you're near water. Fancy that.
Yep. But they tend to be very powerful, and fortunately a lot of castles, well, fortunate or unfortunately, because there are powerful water tactics that are going to get used against us later, But there's a lot of battles where it's an option, but you do need to keep it in mind because there's a lot of fights where if you try to use it but you're not by water, then it just won't work.
Yeah, and thankfully it tells you it doesn't work. You can't like use it and waste your tactic points.
That's true.
But you see there also that I used my first power pill. So power pills are going to be, like we mentioned before, is going to be used a lot in that they do double damage. So it's an automatic critical hit, which is normally only a 1 in 16 chance. And then it's also going to
Guarantee that they hit.
Yeah, guaranteed that they hit. So there's also a 1 in 16 chance that you miss your hit. So we're going to be using that to kind of guarantee we get through some of the fights later.
Yeah. So on that fight, it was the character we gave the trident to that was also using the power pills, and that's going to generally be the tactic, is whoever has the most, kind of the highest strength and the most powerful weapons in the party is going to be the ones using the power pills.
So now's a good time to talk about like the split here, the story.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, where we got the black powder. Yeah, so there's a cave off to the west where the game kind of expects you to have gone and explored it and found that there was a guy who was trapped behind some rocks that you're not able to get to. Fortunately, we are able to talk to the person who can give us some black powder, and he's like, "Oh, have you been to the cave?" And you just say yes, and he gives you black powder, which is going to be really helpful. So we only have to visit the cave once, and we're actually going to go there to. We're actually going to be picking up a couple people here in a minute here in the cave, but there's one in particular who's going to be behind that kind of the rock barrier. This is kind of interesting too, from sort of a world map perspective. Up until this point, the path across the world map has been really linear. If you ever like kind of play through this game or look at a map of it, the very first area, there's a couple different places you can go, and then it's really linear right up until this point, where we have a split where we can go east or we can go west. And so we're kind of there's the way that gets you through the story the best, but we're also kind of unlocking this town to the far northeast where we can do all of our good shopping for the rest of the run as well. So there's a lot that kind of happens over in this area. Once we get past it, everything's going to become pretty linear again for a little while.
Yeah, it's really interesting to look at the world map for this game because it's pretty large and there's a lot of water running through it and you're kind of crossing it at various bridges and everything, but the map doesn't look linear. And if you follow like the path of the order of the generals that you fight, it's, you're going up and down and all over the place, but realistically there's a lot of mountains and water and everything channeling you in a certain direction, and the result ends up being, you usually only have one or maybe two options for where you can go at any given time, but usually just one.
Yeah, exactly. They were definitely trying to get as much kind of movement out of a limited amount of space as they could, and they got a lot on here. Like, it feels like an enormous map. And even if you look at it, it's still actually really big.
Yeah. We'll point out a couple specific map features later that are pretty wild.
Yep. So this is always kind of fun. He's gonna take our stuff, but then he realizes who we are, and he's like, "Oh, I wanted to join Liu Bei's army." Great. Welcome aboard.
Yep, so there's a pretty good general there to pick up. He's got more soldiers than our current characters.
Time to use the gunpowder.
So we're just going to do a little bit of grinding here in this next section because we need to reach a level threshold for a upcoming very difficult fight.
Yeah, throughout most of the run, smoke pots will reign supreme, but there are a couple points where XP is a little bit needed.
So now we want to kind of reduce the number of people in the party again. And so we're going to do some rearranging here.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to say before this, there is a very rare glitch. I'm actually playing on a patch version of the game that should fix the glitch, but just in case, just save anyway. Always save.
Yeah, always save.
Always save. yeah, party management will be a thing a couple times throughout this run. Whether or not you want to avoid the 7th slot glitch, or in a couple cases, Ash has been taking advantage of that glitch. And another sort of factor is that your tactician will only be available in combat if you have 5 or fewer characters. If you have, they always get pushed to the bottom of the party. So if you have 6 characters, your tactician will always be in slot 6 and won't be in combat. But your tacticians tend to have very high intelligence, so they're very good at using tactics. And so going down to 5 party members allows you to put that tactician into your battle team and take advantage of their statistics.
Yep, and we're also going to be getting 2 really good generals as well. So we want room in our party to pick them up. So it's doubly good for this section.
Exactly. And so, yeah, for the grinding here, I know you're trying to take some fights on the way, but we'll have kind of a jump in the zone when we get across this next area, kind of to the southeast here. And we'll, instead of getting like 30 experience like we got in the last fight, we'll get more like 60s and 70s to help us get closer to the experience threshold we're looking at. But hoping to find more, yeah, just kind of regular encounters rather than generals who are more trouble than they're worth.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to fight these guys all out, because they will destroy us probably.
You're looking for level 12 here, right? Level 13, something like that?
Not in the grind, but after.
Okay. Yeah.
We're getting to the experience that the next boss fight will get us to level 13.
Okay.
That's... Yep, so kind of hanging out in some forest area here. Just need not too much more experience, about like 150, something like that.
Yeah, we're looking for just over 2,800 experience. So there isn't too much grinding in this game, so for an RPG, it's actually pretty good. So that actually shows off another feature of this game, is that you can recruit generals when you defeat them in random encounters, just like that. So we refused him because we don't actually want any more generals. We have everything planned out what we need. But that's kind of how you get all the generals. So once you like defeat a certain castle, it kind of opens up the pool for like allow those generals to be in the random encounters, and you can recruit them.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, we kind of mentioned this game in particular is, you know, it's a video gameized retelling of the Three Kingdoms, and the manga takes a lot of liberties that the games that are based off of it, which there are 4 different games based off the Tenchi Wo Kuaro manga, which is the original name of this game in Japanese. Destiny of the Emperor is just the kind of English localization name of it. But yeah, one thing that's fun about it is then you can get all of these, you know, generals, and, you know, you're kind of making this alternative, okay, Liu Bei's army is the ultimate winners, and things don't necessarily go either according to history or according to the novelization.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's sort of double-edged, where it's both a fun mechanic for the game, being able to recruit all these generals and everything, but it's also, in my opinion, somewhat overwhelming. I'm definitely a person who, when I play RPGs, I tend to like, you know, having a party that I kind of stick with, but this game really expects you to be recruiting generals and rotating them in and out, and you'll end up with like 30 generals just in your friend bank, and you have to kind of go through them all and figure out who's worth keeping, who's worth not keeping around. And it's, if you're playing casually, it can be a little overwhelming at times, but it is a pretty cool and pretty iconic part of this game.
Yep, so this one we took a couple extra turns here just to kill the first guy, because he's quite dangerous. He can do a lot of damage, physical damage to us. This second guy uses mainly tactics that aren't too harmful, so we can safely all out here. So as we're getting to the south here, this section of the game is extremely dangerous. So as you'll see, the numbers are often over 1,000, or pretty much over 1,000 through the rest of the game now down here. And we're going to have to take our time using tactics and power pills.
Yeah, this is one of those transition points where we're going from feeling pretty comfortable at a good level to feeling pretty behind now.
Yeah, and again, the multiplier is, you know, the squared number of digits. So we're going from a 9 times multiplier with 3 digits to a 16 times multiplier with 4 digits. So you can imagine how big of a power spike that is for them.
Yeah. So the next big boss fight we're kind of our main strategy in the fight is going to be getting generals below 1,000 soldiers just so they can't do as much damage to us. Here we're picking up the bow, and the bow is a pretty interesting weapon because it has a attack twice feature. There's only 2 weapons that do that, the bow and the crossbow. And so I think Guan Yu is going to have that, and it's kind of nice because even with the power pill it works to double the both hits damage. The second one's a little weaker than the first hit, but it's pretty useful. You get a lot of damage out of it.
Yeah, it's quite a good weapon.
And as we mentioned earlier, we find a lot of weapons near wells. That was one of them. You search the ground next to the well, and surprise, there's a bow on the ground.
Yep.
Or 500 bows, as the case may be.
All right, so this is the most dangerous fight here. Extremely dangerous. We're going to be taking at least 4 turns here to get through it.
Yeah, so this does feel like a pretty big escalation. So you can see we've got 4 of these guys. They're all over 1,000 soldiers. So at the beginning of the fight here, 200 damage right there, right? You can just kind of see. And so Ash is specifically using tactics on specific characters, targeting specific generals with the idea of just getting them below that 1,000 threshold as quickly as possible. Fortunately, we know a lot about the damage that's going to come from every single attack with power pills. And so we do know what will get them below. And that was, turn 1, we just got 3 out of 4 generals below 1,000. So that turn went pretty much according to plan, although Zhao Kang is, he's hurting.
Yeah,
for sure.
So our front 2 guys are going to be like kind of on healing duty and attack only when they can. Sometimes they'll be taken out like that, which is perfectly fine. We have plenty of resurrects we can use still. In the meantime, Guan Yu and Zhang Fei here are going to be doing all the damage with the power pills and the bow and trident.
Yep, and these 2 of these generals we're actually going to be recruiting after this fight. So Wang Zhong and Wei Yan we'll be seeing immediately after this, and they're going to be quite a bit more useful on our side than against us.
Yep.
And this sort of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where a lot of times the game will give you a new general, and it'll just be stronger than anything you have. And well, it's not going to might not exactly match up with the enemy stats, or like you can see like we're fighting an enemy that's way stronger than we are individually, and suddenly they join you.
So we're in pretty good shape here. We'll get the last guy here below 1,000 easily with these power pills. And we should be safe to all out.
Yeah, that went pretty well.
Yeah.
Nice.
So pretty commonly you lose one guy will go down. Sometimes you'll get lucky and nobody will die, but when you get in trouble is when they kill Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, or Xu Zha there at the bottom, because they're kind of your main core of your team at this point. And here they are. They want to join us. So we get Wei Yan. We're going to be using both of these guys, like you said, quite a bit through this next section, because they have a lot more soldiers than we've seen to this point. So it might be a good time to talk about the static HP stuff.
Yeah, so this game is pretty interesting. You might have noticed already that after we get a level up, it lists some of our characters' armories growing, essentially getting more HP from the level, but not everybody in the party, and that's because there's essentially 2 classes of characters in this game. There are the ones who essentially grow as the story goes on, and then there are just kind of almost more of a guest character kind of thing who's just have static soldier stats. And it's kind of 2 things. It's kind of interesting. There's HP, which is the soldier count, and then there's also agility, but that actually grows differently. Agility is more like based on which chapter of the game you're in. Some of the characters will have a multiplier on their agility, and others won't. And then there are kind of these main characters like Zhang Fei and Guan Yu, and the 5 tigers, as they're known, who are able to continue to grow with levels And you kind of learn this as you play the game casually, even like, oh, these are the ones that kind of, as you get toward the late game, are probably who are going to be making up the majority of your party, just because it is useful to have them growing over time, especially if you're grinding. In the speedrun, it's definitely more of a mix of, oh, hey, I found this guy who's pretty powerful right now, I'm going to keep him around for a while, and people who are growing over time.
Hey, friends, I've got lots of donation comments over here. Let me know when another good time for some of these would be.
Let's do one more fight here, and then we'll have some time.
Sounds great.
So now we took that castle. We picked up another really good item, which is a sword, which is actually better than the trident we just got. And then down in this castle, we'll also find another sword next to this well. People are just tossing their swords in wells. What are they thinking?
It must be something to do on like a holiday.
They're hiding them so that way, like, they're staging a revolution, you know, they'll be nearby, they've got the sword at the ready, can't be confiscated.
Yeah, so that's your optimistic take and your pessimistic take?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so here in this castle, we've got this guy just sitting on the throne by himself, and he wants to show us to our sleeping quarters. That sounds suspicious. So he asks us if we want to reconsider, and we say no again, and then we go right into battle. So if you decide to actually take him up on his offer and go to your sleeping quarters, you go into this battle with about a quarter of your soldiers. So you're in pretty bad shape, and you got some fairly strong guys that can still kill you if you all out at that point. So thankfully we knew his trick, and he tells us he can give up. So we're doing some shopping now. So now's the good time, Diener.
Perfect. $5 from Iggy Zig that says, wow, Dynasty Warriors sure has come a long way. Good luck and gold splits to all runners and crew all week long, less than 3. $100 coming in from Jory Mill. Wish I could be there in person with you as you stream one of my favorite RPGs. Much love to you all and hope to be there next year. $25 donation from Helmet with no comment, but thank you so much for your generosity. $25 from Furret Skin. More LARPus. Got $5 donation from KR Shush. Donated all I can today, but here's the last one to enter the new prize pool. Good luck to the runners for tonight, and all of us hoping for prizes. Wink. Yeah, the current prize block is going up through the night up until, I believe, Landstalker, Treasures of King Null. And just to remind everyone, $75 total cumulative donation from here until Dark Lord gets you eligible for the custom Nintendo DS Lite provided by Custom Game Boys. And our grand prize, $200 cumulative over the course of the entire event, a Nintendo Switch 2 bundle as our grand prize. That'll be available, $200 total donation cumulative throughout the entire event.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Dynasty Warriors. 2 of the other games that were based off this manga that were localized with the titles Dynasty Wars and Warriors of Fate. So, yeah, Dynasty Warriors definitely taking some... There's a limited number of words that all these games are using.
You just switch them around, it's a different game.
Yeah.
Not confusing at all.
All right, so now we got to finish taking off this capturing this region, which is this one last castle here we have to take, and that will kind of advance the story from this region, and then we will move to the north where it's snowy.
And I think casually it's pretty common to go north first before coming down this way. It's kind of the more obvious, like, progression and scaling in terms of your power levels, but in a speedrun context, getting access to strong generals and strong equipment this direction is very beneficial and will make that part a lot faster.
Yeah, just like earlier when we got Lu Bu, getting the swords and stuff early makes this section and the next section pretty straightforward and kind of have a nice break from all the intense fights we just had. So we're going to go over here to this little hut that's hidden off to the side.
The NES classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good we use it twice in this run.
So let's talk to this guy. He says, search the area around me. All right. Oh, look, a sword. Wow, okay. That
Yeah.
guy just tells you there's this random sword sitting here. And
Not sure why he can't just give it to you, but
Yeah.
the next best thing, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't want to have NPCs give you things, I guess.
And I have to say, I'm disappointed. I don't think I've seen Guan Yu die yet this run.
Yeah, I know. Every time Ash runs this game, Guan Yu dies over and over and over, and
Yeah, we're playing a little safer, so, you know,
Yeah.
he's got a better chance of surviving.
We always joke as DQ runners that we always, when it happens to Ash, we always compare him to Prince Sama, Prince Kanak from DQ2.
Oh, my poor Prince Box.
yeah.
All right, so here we're actually going to check the same old tile where Chitu Ma was, and sure enough, look, there's another Chitu Ma.
Hey, what luck.
What luck, huh?
Bravo.
So that was part of the 7-slot glitch I did earlier in the Wan Chu fight. I triggered Chitu Ma to respawn, essentially, from that. It's actually respawned some other items as well in the game, but they're not useful at this point, so we're not going to pick those up. But having 2 Chitu Ma's is quite nice, because you're giving, like you said earlier, 50% more agility to those characters.
Yep, that guy we buy the silver key from for 4,000 gold, and that's just going to help us with some story stuff coming up here and to recruit actually a really important party member for pretty much the rest of the run.
Yep, and he's a required party member, because you can't advance the story, because he's kind of blocking the way.
Yeah, he's right in the middle of the road, just like this person.
Yep.
But he doesn't just move out of the way.
So we're in the story north here. You can actually see the Great Wall up there.
Yep, so we're the kind of far north. There's the Great Wall of China. Keep the Mongols out.
Are we going to see
Or
any
the
Mongols
Huns.
in
The
this
Huns,
run?
I guess. Yeah.
So with all the power from the generals and the equipment that Ash has picked up recently, a lot of these fights are just going to be kind of standard all out. They'll go by very quickly. There's not going to be a whole lot of tactics set up.
So the serial killer here opens the gate here in this jail, and this girl, and it turns out it's the guy's sister that we need to move out of the way. So she gives us a letter to give to him, and then he will join us and move out of the way. He's actually an extremely, like I said, extremely important character.
Yes, this is Zhao Yun, and he is one of the 5 tigers. So he'll be able to grow as we get levels, and he'll be useful for pretty much the entire rest of the run.
Yeah, he's going to be, not only for hitting tactics, he's going to be useful for doing damage as well. He's got high int and strength. Alright, so one more easy fight here, and then we'll take it in. Thankfully that you guys donated, we let Wan Chu go. We don't have to take an extra fight here that I would have had to take to make up some experience.
So here you can see the characters that are learning or that are gaining more soldiers as they level up, as mentioned earlier. And more tactics points.
Yep.
Yeah, the tactics are sort of interesting in this game. So there are a bunch of different categories of tactics. There's the fire tactic, there's water tactics we've talked about, there's a healing tactic, and there are various buffs and debuffs. And early on it's a little bit flexible because you don't have a full set of tactics, but you can only know 6 tactics at once. And they all kind of go into slots, and as you earn a new tactic, it'll frequently overwrite one you already have, which you might not want to have happen depending at certain points. So level management is sort of important for your tacticians. And it's sort of just an interesting part of choosing your tactician and,
Right.
and the character growth.
And routing in the game,
Yeah.
because you need certain tactics at certain points. Right, so I'm going to actually purposely invoke the 7-slot glitch here again by putting my tactician in the 7th slot, and it's going to respawn those swords we actually picked up earlier. So here's Wan Shu and Wan Xiao.
Who's out at the bottom?
Who is that guy?
No way.
You again?
Who is pursuing whom?
He just keeps showing up.
He's like, why are you pursuing me?
Yeah. So like before, he's still extremely strong, so we actually are taking an extra turn here just to specifically kill him before we all out this battle, because if you don't do that, there is a good chance they can wipe you.
Yeah, he's at 3 digits, and he's still doing like 200 damage to us attacking, so he's tough.
You said he has 255 strength, right?
Right. Yeah, for reference, Zhang Fei there right across from him, he has 250 strength, which is the next highest in the game. Alright, so now that he's out of the picture, these rest of the guys are pretty easy. So say goodbye to the Wan brothers. Alright, so took in his head, and all his egomaniacal plans are done.
Peace settles over the land.
Yep. Again.
Yep, it'll last this time.
Yeah, for sure. This time for sure. Alright, so we can learn that tactic. Ji-Rao is actually going to be an extremely important tactic we're going to be using through this next section of the game. Alright, so we're going to pick up another hidden weapon that's just randomly in front of this door. Here's a bow. We're not going to use it because it's not really that great at this point. We're just going to sell it for money.
We got some shopping here, so Diener, if you've got anything to read, this is a good time.
Absolutely. Got some more donations coming in. $25 from Danky Kang. No comment provided, but thank you so much for your generosity. Also like to shout out $25 from The End Beta, also with no comment, but once again, thank you so much for your generosity. And $25 from Mr. Game and Shout. Somebody said prizes, so I had to donate. Incentive goes to the host choice. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Game and Shout. I'm going to go ahead and put that towards the cheat showcase for our next run, Aiden Chronicles. Definitely looking forward to that one next.
Oh, is Aiden Chronicles next?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, good.
Who's running that?
Yeah, that might be me.
Oh.
Might be.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I can convince somebody else here to run it for me.
Someone else might sneak in and do it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
never even noticed.
Yep. So this is just really loading up on consumables here. So Ash is refilling some resurrects if he needs them, but really loading up on gold wings and smoke pots because we're going to be doing a lot of traveling coming up.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that some of the overworld travel routing was kind of complicated and a major part of the run, and this is where that will start to really be obvious with all these gull wings. Especially with the items that Ash was able to respawn with the 7th slot glitch. There's going to be a lot of backtracking to pick up those up, and not a lot of backtracking, but some amount of backtracking.
Alright, so I'm going to make a little safety save here before we do the building. It's just good practice, just in case. Always safe. So we're also going to be, I'm going to be switching out Zhao Song for Zhao Yun that we just picked up there with our letter. So we're going to have him in the game for the rest of the way.
I always find this menu being translated pretty interesting with delete member. It's to put them into your friend bank.
And if you actually want to remove them, it's fire them.
Yeah. But you see delete member and you second guess yourself, like, am I deleting this guy or just storing him? But,
Sounds very permanent.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, an interesting thing about the billeting system there where you bring people in and out is kind of inventorying will kind of transfer from who you take out to who you bring in there. So Ash kind of has that planned in the inventory routing for taking people out and then bringing them in specific orders, just so the items are in the right spots for the people who join into the party.
All right, so now we reach another required story section of the game. We actually have to find the famous tactician Zhuge Liang, and we have to go to his house down here to see if he's home. So he'll join us, right? He's just going to join us.
Yeah, he'll be home.
It's going to be that easy.
Maybe we should, like, call ahead and see if he's home before we go there.
Nah, I think he'll be fine. Oh, there's this boy here. He's not home.
Oh.
He might be in another house. That's the first. that's the first place we started the game in, so we better check. He's here somewhere. So let's check this hut. No, he's not
That doesn't
here.
look like him.
He was here, but he already left. Huh.
Hmm.
All right, I guess we'll go back to his house. Let's see if he's there, I guess. He has to be there this time, right? I mean, we just went back and forth once.
Should have left a note or something.
Maybe we
Yeah.
should just have waited at his house.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but like think of all these like thousands of soldiers we have to feed. You can't just sit around like they're gonna ruin the countryside.
All right, the boy's there again. Well, we'll talk to him, even though this is actually, we found recently, not required, but he's not here anymore. So he tells us to wait at Nanyang Castle.
He's like, oh, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
All right, so we got to go back to Nanyang here, and we got to invite Liu Bei. So once we invite him, we'll go talk to him. See if he's arrived at his home now. Oh, he said his brother's returned. Okay, yeah.
Thanks. It's good that went through Liu Bei. It's interesting. He's like, I'm just the messenger here.
The Emperor reduced to messenger boy.
Yeah.
All right, we've got him now.
Yeah, this time.
For sure. Get back, the little boy is gonna be like, you again?
You again.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, okay.
He's sleeping. All right. Do you want to wake him up? No?
We should.
Yeah, we should wake him up.
No, I mean,
No? Oh, wait.
Hmm.
He's still sleeping. So this is a really weird thing that you actually have to hit B and not clear this text box to actually advance the story. And you have to wait, and then he wakes up. So it's part of the original Three Kingdoms story in that Liu Bei is courteous to Zhuge Liang and waits for him at his residence to wake up. And that is what makes him join the party. All right, so going back to Shanghai, or here to this well that now has another sword that we picked up earlier.
So, so that's the 7th slot glitch kind of doing good instead of doing evil. And EvilAsh put a lot of work into figuring out kind of the specific circumstances to find something beneficial around that. And that was one of the ones that kind of came out of all your kind of exploring the possibilities there.
Yep, and then we got the second sword here. So both of those spawn because we invoked it earlier. And same with the Chituma earlier. Right?
So with both of those and the second Chituma legendary horse, that's everything we're going to be doing the duplications on with that glitch. So from here on, we just want to avoid it.
Yep. All right, so Zhuge Liang here finally joins us. He tells us that there's bad things happening in Shu province that is part of the next part of the story. So
And clearly, since he's supposed to be a legendary tactician, we're making him our tactician.
Yep.
In the 6th slot, specifically.
Yes, not the 7th slot. So that's why we're kind of hanging on to Guan Ping here. So he can. Nope, not that. All right. So we got a bit of shopping here to do, and we're gonna do a lot of it.
Yep. Do you know if you have anything to read? Now's a great time.
Sure. I've got a pretty special donation here, $200 from Pieman34. So many awesome games being showcased this year. Love seeing a mix of new titles and longtime favorites, along with both veteran and first-time runners. I'm donating now so I don't forget before the Golden Sun incentives tomorrow. I always look forward to RPG Limit Break, and the Tantrum merch this year is amazing, especially that Mimi plushie. NAMI is such an important organization. Mental health matters now more than ever. This year, I'm donating in honor of one of my best friends, Holly, who died by suicide 5 years ago. Miss you always.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you so much for your generosity and for your kind words.
So, yeah, as expected from many of the previous mentions and menus, it's a lot of stocking up on power pills and smoke pots. But we run into some pretty strong generals, so need as many power pills on the characters that are really strong and have good weapons. And, again, you've got to come at a limited inventory of how much you can carry around. So one thing that Ash is really good at is keeping track of how many items each character has. So if you try to, one of the downsides to this menu system, right, is when you try to buy an item or pass an item to somebody, it doesn't show you that the target character's inventory. So if that inventory is full and you try to buy an item, it kind of gives you this little bit of text, and you have to, choose somebody else to give it to. And Ash is trying to be very good about keeping track of how many items each character has and limit that right there. I jinxed it.
Yeah. Nope. All right, I think we're full. So it's better to be safe, especially in a marathon run, that you got everything you need.
Absolutely.
And I don't, actually.
Maybe some elixirs. But yeah, the menuing thing, for sure, it's we kind of mentioned this game came out Japan 1989 and then for the NES in 1990. And so it came out in Japan 3 months after Dragon Quest III, the Famicom. And you can definitely feel like there are certain things around menuing where they were definitely looking at Dragon Quest II, Famicom, or Dragon Warrior 2 for kind of inspiration on how this works. And some of the things that feel a little clunky feel very similar in Dragon Warrior 2. Like not being able to see what people are holding and buying them one at a time, and kind of all. Yeah, shopping feels really similar, even the way you back out of the menus.
Yeah, and you can't buy and sell in the same menu. You have to all the way back out.
The little menu's even called command.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Command?
But despite being inspired by the Dragon Warrior menus, the menus in this game are a lot faster and more responsive than most of the Dragon Warrior menus. They feel really good, and it's actually pretty easy to miss menu because you get in the flow of going so fast, and you can very easily accidentally drop an item that you can't recover or something like that. So you have to be a little bit careful because of it too. But it makes it really really rewarding from a speedrun standpoint.
All right, so this is the first time we're going to be using the G-Row tactic. So that tactic, what it does is it doubles your defense essentially. So you take half damage from all attacks. So that's going to be key in letting us get through this section quickly. So once you get it casted, we can usually safely all out a battle. So you can see how many soldiers these guys have and how hard they're hitting. There's a good chance to lose Zhang Fei here. But
I believe.
yeah, I don't.
23.
Oh.
Nope.
Oh.
He tried.
Yeah.
So that's why we got the extra resurrects, as well as a couple of elixirs as well, in case somebody's really low.
But Guan Yu holding on.
Yep.
Yeah. This is his run. Yeah, so we're kind of back to things were a little bit opened up for a minute, and now we're back to more of a linear path again, going gate to gate,
Linear.
just kind of progressing.
Literally linear.
Yeah, it's funny how often you kind of end up in these landscapes that are kind of just snaking around mountains or around rivers, just to sort of make you have to walk that much further to get to the next town.
As if the NES style encounter rate weren't already high enough. Let's make you take 3 times as many steps to get there.
So just like the last fight, we'll use Jiru here. And then otherwise just gonna focus on attacking, go all out once we got the defense up.
Yep, so both Wei Yan and Huang Zhang here are 2 Chitumas, so they're going to be going first most of the time. Wei Yan's agility is maxed out, Huang Zhang is almost maxed out. So that's kind of why we're relying on them to cast the tactics.
And one of the nice things about the healing tactics side of things is that, as Ash just did in the first turn of that fight, used his healing tactic, it's a group heal. It heals everybody, and you get that pretty early on in this game. So if you're used to like earlier Final Fantasy games where you only really get single target healing, or like Dragon Warrior games, you get mostly single target healing until very, very late. This game gives you that option a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, having now like a really good tactician allows us to have access to actually. Yeah, and we just got Beiji there too, which is going to be important. Some of the tactics that are actually going to be useful through the whole rest of the game now. So we use Beiji in the upcoming fight, and that's essentially like a twin hits or a bi-kill.
Yep.
So it'll double your damage, and additionally, that will also double damage dealt by tactics as well.
All right, so this fight is actually a little scary. So we're going to actually target down and follow Zhang here in the middle, because he can cast a tactic that negates all our tactics. So our defense and our double strength and hits will be negated. So we don't want that to happen. You can all out this fight, but it's best to take it safe here for a marathon.
Yeah. Ash went ahead and bought some extra power pills, and this is one of those times where it definitely doesn't hurt to use them. Just kind of get an advantage early on in the fight, bring this guy down by quite a bit. You can see the advantage of taking an extra round of doing the power pills here, just from being able to do 1,000 damage instead of a few hundred from a regular physical attack.
Yep. So now we got Zhang Fei. Now is our first character that can grow in soldiers over 1,000 now. So he's also going to start doing a lot more damage whenever he's above that threshold.
Yep, there's that. The tactic sound. That's anytime you hear that sound, even though we're using the all out, so we're just doing normal randomized physical attacks, they're still able to pick what they want to do, and so you don't usually like to hear the tactic sound in the all out.
Right. It could be a little scary. All right, so we're making to the next town here, or castle, and we actually have to formation back here, and we have to break this guy out of jail. So this is another weird story trigger that you have to do, and you have to break this guy out of jail, but there's like no way to do it unless you tap the D-pad into him. I think it's 6 times, and then it breaks the door down, and that advances the story. So that's actually the guy at the end of the chapter we're going to be fighting to beat the chap that we just freed.
Does the game give you any indication that that's how you're supposed to break down that gate?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
It's been a while since I've played it through casually, so I don't think it does.
Yeah, I feel like you might just have to do it, but I'm not sure.
Shoutouts to Nintendo Power or Prima Strategy Guides.
Yep.
Probably. Nintendo Power didn't talk too much about this game, though.
Yeah.
Like, they were, like, the Nintendo published RPGs, they spent so many pages of Nintendo Power on, but this game, not so much.
Yeah. All right, so this next battle coming up after this one is going to be another pretty dangerous one, in that we see our first use of the tactic Jimion. So Jimion is a tactic that can be cast that basically negates all of physical attacks from the other side until it wears off. And it's random if it wears off, and it can be pretty devastating if it never wears off, and it pretty much can wall you.
Yeah, you know when it happens because you're not hitting anymore, even though you're on all out, and it's just them hitting you over and over.
And I think Ash told me it's 5/8 for the tactic to stay active and 3/8 for it to wear off every single turn. So it's a flat chance, so... Oh boy.
Not a great fight to...
We didn't use it.
Yeah.
So Pang Da here in the 3rd slot is the guy who uses it. Fortunately, we lost Wei Yan here because we were surprised. So we're going to have to improvise a bit here. You do not have it. Okay, so we got to get the Jiro up here. Otherwise, you're going to be taking way too much damage. And you're going to also heal. Hopefully, we don't lose anybody. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
So back over 1,000. Hopefully get some of those attacks off before you get bumped back down.
Get way on back up here. So he casted it. So unfortunately, our power pills are negated. So we're gonna have to just wait this out until it wears off, and hopefully use power pills again or attack him to get him down.
Okay, nice.
It
Good.
wore off. We're just gonna go all out on it here. Good. As long as he doesn't cast it again, we'll get him. Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Okay. All right, we're not completely out of it yet.
Yeah, so at this point, we're kind of just waiting, hoping it wears off.
And thankfully, the power pills themselves are, somewhat easily replenished. They don't cost very much money, and you start
Okay.
to have a lot of money at this point in the game. So it could have an impact on, this fight or whatever. But if Ash needs to restock, that's definitely something he can do.
Okay, still have one there. I think that's the last one.
All right, it should be enough to kill him, even with the attacks, as long as they don't miss. But heal up, and we should be okay. So we did not get Beiji on all the characters I usually do for the all-out here, so I have to be a little careful. Okay, we got a crit there.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage, but we're looking fine.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, a little scary, but we got through it.
Cool.
Which is definitely good. So Ma Chao here and Ma Dai are actually going to join us. We're going to be using Ma Chao much later in the run, but we're going to be using Ma Dai immediately because he has a lot more soldiers than we have right now. So unfortunately, Huang Zhang here, the old one of the old 5 tigers, is going to be kicked out for him. We got another battle axe, another better weapon here behind the well. Slowly upgrading our weapons. Yeah, so we got Ma Dai in our team now. Reorder. Put him in the front because he's got over 3,000 soldiers. Gonna be quite nice. He's got really good agility and
All right.
attack power.
I wonder if we're going to see anything interesting in this cave.
Nah, just some rebel forces. Right?
Okay, yeah, nothing yet.
Yeah. So I do need a little bit of XC. So if I see a rebel force fighting here, I will take it. But that should do us here for this section.
Yeah, so we kind of mentioned before, there are some caves where staying in the shadow is useful, and then some where it's not. And I think this is one where you can still get encounters in the shadow tiles.
Yes. Just rebel forces in this cave, huh?
Yeah, nothing interesting too, right?
Nothing interesting in this cave. So we actually have to pick up a story item, which is the... Oh, who's this?
Oh, okay.
You again?
This guy's just following us around.
This time he was pursuing us for sure.
Yeah, I think so. So we're going to take him out here. This is actually the end of Lubu. His life comes to an end. His life was in SA and Betrayal.
Oh, and betrayal. Betrayal.
Betrayal, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so that is the end of Lubu for this game. You actually are required to beat him to advance the story, which is interesting. So we'll use smoke pots here for the rest to pick up the item. So the item in here is the iron ore, so we're going to actually use it to give to the blacksmith and forge the swords, the legendary swords.
The super swords.
Yeah, super swords. There's the iron ore. Alright, so back to where we started here before entering the cave. Do a quick in trip, and we will move on.
Yeah, and Liu Bu being like kind of a, you know, his loyalties go between Liu Bei and others kind of back and forth is kind of straight from the story from the manga as well. That's really kind of his characters. He's just sort of a jerk, but he's very strong.
Yeah, same in the original story as well, right?
Yeah.
So
He was only loyal to us because of the gem sword. We bribed him.
yeah,
It's got a limited value.
and we've learned our lesson.
So is Liu Bu.
Yep.
At least his horse is okay.
It's 2 horses.
Yeah.
Cool. So cough guard's not a big deal here. These guys are easy all out, so just a little bit of waste of time. A lot of waste of time.
Failure.
So when they cast those tactics that hit every party member, are extremely slow. But yeah, you see here now also like Ma Dai here is a really good character here to have at this section. Eventually we'll outgrow him just like we're kind of outgrowing Wei Yan. And we will replace him. But
You know, just kind of continuing the trend of getting new characters that are stronger than anybody you have in your party. It's this game is pretty intimidating because you pretty frequently, as you've seen this whole run, you pretty frequently encounter groups of generals that have twice as much HP or more than you do, than your strongest party members. And so those difficulty spikes are pretty intimidating, and then you get one of those characters that has sort of on par statistics or on par soldier counts, and then the rest of your party members will grow to catch up and eventually outscale them.
So kind of same idea here, though. We're using the same kinds of tactics we've been using. Jiru for increasing our defense, Beiji for increasing our attack.
Yeah, this is very much like the Dragon Quest strategy part of the run of cast increase, cast buy kill, and
And then we have All Out to finish this one off, and it's going to be pretty similar for the next fight as well.
yeah, thankfully in this game we got the all-out option. So
yeah.
it's probably like, I don't know if there's another NES game that has an option like this. Eventually, some other games kind of adopted it. I think some like TurboGrafx games might have it, but
I think I've seen some strategy games that have like auto-resolve options where it doesn't display the combat itself. It'll just say, the combat was calculated and here are the results.
yeah.
But never anything quite like this.
Pretty ahead of its time for that in particular, I think.
Yeah. It's one of the really cool things about this run is that there's like multiple, I guess I'll say like combat paradigms of like how you're approaching the combat, and you kind of use your given setup for, you know, a decent amount of time, but then eventually you get more tactics and you sort of outgrow that strategy and you move on to using your more advanced tactics and you change up the strategy. And it's really just an interesting dynamic for how the run grows as it gets farther in.
Yeah, and you essentially have to do that to be able to overcome the later fights because they are going to be using the most advanced tactics on you, so you need to essentially be ready to respond with, you know, like the tactics that nullify other tactics or things like that.
Yeah, and even the fact that you just get replaced, right? So we're going to eventually lose this Jiro tactic.
Right.
So we will not be able to use it anymore. All right, so we finally made it through this chapter. This is about the halfway point of the run. So we're going to do a little shopping, a little errand running. So, Diener, if you have anything you want.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for letting me get a chance here to read some of these donation comments from our kind, generous viewers. I've been saving this one for a little while. $35 from Error of Ruto. Forecast for Aiden is bright. Clear skies all day. Perfect weather for blasting a top-tier OST while sneaking past bats. Aileron's true name is Kirk Buzzer.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm not on screen either, but I'm giving a big eye roll here.
Now you've cursed it.
Just to bring a little bit of attention to that, Aiden Chronicles is the next run in this, and we've got some open bid wars for that. We've got Name the Main Character. Kirk Buzzer is in the lead with $60. Still plenty of time to change that.
Oh, no.
And we've got a special cheat code showcase also for Aiden Chronicles. We need about $524 more for that, so definitely want to see some donations for that come in.
Yeah, and the cheat code showcase will be open until the end of the run, so
Still time, but don't wait around too long.
absolutely.
And hey, I got $50 here from BD Jeffy P with no comment, but thank you so much for your generosity to Nami. Much appreciated.
I don't know if I've ever heard quite as much bad taste crammed into one comment as that one from Erevuto.
But I have to say that, like, Kirk Buzzer for Aiden Chronicles is pretty appropriate.
Kirk Buzzer's
you heard
never
it.
appropriate.
You heard it here first. Tactical wants Kirk Buzzer for Aiden Chronicles.
I mean, I didn't say that. Just that it's fitting. But if it raises money for Nami,
Sure.
I'll take it.
That would be a better thing than Kirk Buzzer has ever done before.
Couple more comments coming in here too. $25 from my good friend Grimora. Why, hello there. Thanks to EvilAsh and company for taking on this historically accurate adventure. Just one complaint, you don't have enough goof-offs in the party. Good luck on the run.
Thank you, Grimora.
Yeah, thanks so much. And if I've got time for one more, $25 from Zytoriak. What a time to be alive to see Destiny of a Grey Duck live here at RPG Limit Break 2025. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Satoriak.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, good to see you here, friend.
Yep, thank you.
Getting to be that time of night, huh?
All right, so this next story section, we actually have to drop off that iron ore that we picked up with the blacksmith.
You sound so sad about it.
Yeah.
You get really attached to that iron ore while carrying it around for so long.
Yeah. So this blacksmith's going to take us from us. He's going to tell us it's going to take many days.
You might want to go do something else for a while.
No, we'll do something.
It's gonna take a while.
Let's walk to that tile and then back. Okay. And then, is it done yet? Oh, he did. He made 5 beautiful swords from the ore. He named them. But abandoned yellow scarves came and stole them before... oops, I talked to him again. We get to hear it again. Stole them before we could come back. Dang, these guys are quick, huh?
Yeah.
They must have been waiting.
It's not quite like the water flying clothes.
I thought we deleted the yellow scarves. Maybe not quite enough.
Yeah, maybe we should have tried harder.
Yeah.
Nope, not this yet. We're going to do this next time we come back here. All right, so now that we're in the homeland of Shu, we are going to invite Liu Bei. And surely peace has now been resolved.
Yeah.
Nothing,
of course.
nothing else could happen.
No. There will be no more.
It'll
No
be-
one else claiming the throne.
Be the end of the game for sure. Do a little shopping here just in case. You never know.
Yeah, we've been able to pick up a few pretty good weapons, but we still have a couple party members who are behind, so we're getting the battle axes for Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, and then we can upgrade the armor to the chainmail there.
Ah, there, NPCs.
Yeah, and with the way the armor works is like sort of a percentage reduction of damage. Later armor starts to matter a lot more than earlier armor, and then especially when we're using the tactics to increase our defense and scaling off of that while we still can. The armor is very useful.
This is the lore dump of the game.
Yep, so now Guan Yu and Zhang Fei are going to leave us. So they're actually really good characters. Unfortunately, we won't have them anymore. They're out of the party. They're going to guard the castles that we got earlier. And we're just finding out that some bad things are happening. The 2 people from the other regions of China have died.
I thought you said nothing more bad was going to happen.
Yeah, we shouldn't have said anything. So now we found out that those regions are also trying to attack us. So we got to go help Guan Yu and Zhang Fei guard their castles here. So we're going to go visit them first.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because at this point, our 3 starting party members, Liu Bei, Zhang Fei, and Guan Yu, are all now off just kind of ruling their own regions. And we've passed it on to the next generation.
Yep, and so thankfully they had sons.
Yeah.
And we get to...
Not a lot of women in this game.
No, not so much.
So with all these like descendants and all these children that taking the places, what's the time frame of the story of this game? Like, what does this sort of encompass?
It's a good question.
Yeah, I don't...
No, not really sure.
I assume a long time.
Yeah, I mean that's what I assumed too. But I wasn't sure if there was any like canonical. This takes place over 20 years or whatever.
I mean, it certainly is like the lifetimes of a lot of these people.
According to my calculations, it's been 1 hour and 44 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Not very long, actually.
Thank you, Diener.
I guess when you think about it that way, we have eaten a lot of food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay hungry.
But the rations will probably make it for the rest of the rest of what we need to do.
Are you sure? We still have a lot of smoked pot.
That's a good point. Guess we'll see how hungry we get.
All right, so we got to do a bunch of equipping here. And then we got to go take over the castles, the other castles in the region here. So retake. So this is the part we visited way earlier when we picked up all the swords and we're pretty low level. And we got to retake this area.
One really nice thing about the menus in this game that I just want to specifically point out, and we've talked a couple times about how great they feel, but it has menu wrapping, which for an NES game is actually not super common. So it makes things like the equip menus that Ash was just doing that much easier to do.
Yeah, especially when everything's at the bottom of
Exactly.
the inventory.
Yeah, when you buy stuff, it just goes to the bottom. It doesn't sort by like equipment and usable items or anything like that. So when you buy equipment, it's at the bottom, just wrap to it, and you're right there.
Yep. So we recaptured one of the castles. We got one more to go here in the north. So this is kind of where we're going to start getting a lot more levels, and we're going to start getting a lot more soldiers. Do a little end stop here.
I always find it really funny when you do this a few times in the run, where like you'll go up to a town or a gate or something, and then you'll beat the fight, and then the response is just like to wing somewhere else rather than even go into the place that you just cleared.
Yeah, it'd probably be a little bit nicer to enter every single area if every place became a goal wing return point, but unfortunately that's a pretty limited list out of the total locations, maybe for better or worse, because if it stored all of them, it would be a really long list of places to navigate.
Alright, so take over this other castle here. This one's another pretty straightforward fight, but we do have to take a turn because these guys are fairly dangerous. Do our standard buff up. Alright, so after this fight, we actually need to get this level. So this is the Wanfu level, in that we learn the tactic Wanfu, which is a heal all tactic. We'll see that a lot later. We don't usually want to see it, but the reason we're doing that is because we're actually going to be taking a free level. So you looked all that how that worked out?
Yeah. So basically the XP per level is sort of statically input into the game. It's not dynamically calculated in some formula. And there are some levels that have probably like data entry errors in terms of the XP scaling. And so there are some levels that are really quick, and then there are some levels that are really slow. So level 22, for example, is pretty quick, but then 22 to 23, but then 23 to 24 is a pretty long level that takes a lot more experience than you would need compared to the levels around it. And so there's a spot in this game where you can be given one free level. So you really want to hit that like long level as close as possible, so that way you can get the free level to just skip the level that takes, I think it's like 9,000 XP or something like that, or it's a lot more than the levels around it.
Yeah, it's essentially the gap of experience that it'll be between levels like 4 levels from now.
Right.
All right, so we're going to be saying goodbye to Wei Yan here. So we're going to be moving his equipment off over to Zhuge Liang, and we're actually going to be using him as one of our main party members for this next section, because he is very smart and he can use tactics, and we're going to need that to get through this.
He's stocking up on the classics. Power pills, smoke pots, gull wings, all the usuals. Yeah, you can see how often EvilAsh is using gull wings to get around the world map kind of quickly, and he's very good at keeping track of where he needs to go, because there's a lot of backtracking in this game. There's a lot of cases of needing to go to like the starting region in particular, and then there's a couple other like sort of major hubs that you're going back to repeatedly throughout the run, and go through a lot of gull wings, just like Dragon Quest goes through a lot of Chimera wings.
Yeah, of course in this game you never learn a return spell or a zoom spell, so you have to use the items, buy more.
Yeah, and in fact, you don't get field tactics at all in this game. So we mentioned earlier how Ash buys these elixirs to heal outside of combat, because you are not allowed to use your tactics outside of combat. So the option for something like a return spell just doesn't really exist. Do you have any idea how many smoke pots you go through throughout the run? No, in total.
Nope. Probably just as many power pills as well.
Yeah, it's a lot. Can't carry anymore. Yeah, so this is sort of where inventories can get a little bit variable over time based on how many consumables you've used, and the elixirs, resurrections, smoke pots, whatever. I guess not really. Smoke pots are pretty static, but keeping track of how many slots everyone has available is difficult, and if you're not sure, it's better to just try to buy one to them and deal with the tax than it is to be short an item.
Right. Yeah, I want to make sure I have the right everything I need here in this section. So inventory does become pretty important, because we're actually planning for later in the game. So this is the guy, the secret house in the back here. You talk to this guy, he gives you a free level. So you can actually use that to get the technically max level of the game is 50. You can actually get level 51 here, if you really wanted to. All right, so we got a adventure story here again. Since we just got the level, we're gonna say at the end, get our soldiers back. And we're gonna do a little save, and then...
Always save.
Yep. And then we're going to drop off to the generals we don't need anymore. So, like I said before, we're gonna use Zhuge Liang for tactics. To do that, we're gonna have to remove generals, so we only have 5 in the party.
Yeah, both Guan Ping and Wei Yan we had for quite a while, actually.
Yep.
But eventually we move on from pretty much everyone in this game.
Yep, so now we get the other part of the story, though, where Liu Bei is considering if he should become emperor himself or strive for it. And the others talk to him and kind of convince him that he should become emperor and kind of restore the Han dynasty where it was and take over the other regions. So it's kind of like more of the part where it deviates from the original novels, especially. So.
Yeah, we have Cao Pi here, who I think in this story he like kills his father Cao Cao,
Right.
and so Cao Pi is kind of the main guy that we have to fight.
Yep. So now we're finally got this bridge that just appeared, and we can go into Wu.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting how this world map tries to sometimes include features from China, geographic features, and other times it, definitely takes some liberties for the sake of game progression. That being a prime example, like there's a lot of water on this map and a lot of bridges.
All right,
And a
so
lot of mountains.
now that we also crossing this area is where the tactics also step up a notch, and soldiers as well. You're up against the 6,000, and these guys become more and more dangerous. So this is why we have Zhuge Liang here, who can cast tactics. So if the enemy casts Jibian, which blocks our physical attacks like that, we can then use tactics still through that and kill the guys that we need to, the dangerous ones. So perfect timing there. Well, that doesn't matter too much. Ours wore off as well.
All good.
Oh, this guy is usually pretty safe.
Yeah, Da Rei there is kind of a powerful single target fire tactic.
Yep.
Yeah, the fire tactics don't get like a ton of specific use in the run, mostly early on when your weapons are really poor, but there are definitely some fights like this one where, when your physical attacks are blocked, it's your best option.
Right. So now we found that in this town we're actually blocked off by a river to advance. So you're supposed to talk to that old guy, and he tells you to find some items. Not the scimitar, but the deadwood is one of them. And we have to get the saltpeter as well up in this cave.
Can't throw a stick of dead wood without finding a sword on the ground in this game.
Yeah. Alright, so the other thing we want to do here in this is do a little bit of grinding. So we actually need to reach a specific level here. Coming up a little further. No, not this guy.
Oh, it's
Yeah. This guy's a little dangerous.
You're right. There's Lu Su, and then there's
Lu
Su.
Su.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's a ton of different generals you can get in this region, and knowing which ones are dangerous and which ones are not is pretty hard to remember. So I got a list here we're looking through of certain ones. Some of I already know ahead of time, but
Yeah, glancing over at the list, there's close to 25 of them on that list, so
yeah.
it's a lot to remember which ones are good to fight.
Yeah. Ideally, we just see some rebels get at least a little bit of experience. If not, we'll just grind it later. So this is not a long cave. Pick up the saltpeter, and we will move on.
Yeah, actually a pretty good encounter rate. Didn't see too many in there.
Yeah. All right, so we're back here. Do a little in-stay again. Then we will give the items to the old man here. First, we're going to say that we don't want to explain it to us because it saves text, and we re-talk to him, and then he gets it and he makes some blasting powder. He goes off to the side here, and
Boom.
boom.
Not only makes the powder, just immediately uses it.
Yep. So he blew up part of the mountain, and it went into the water here and made a path for us. So now we may pass. Alright, so this one is one of the most dangerous fights in the game. There's a chance that I die here, a decent one, but we'll see if it goes well or not.
So we're kind of going all offense for at least the beginning of this. So everyone is getting Beiji, which is the attack doubling one, as well. And then our character in the fifth slot there is going to use Hong Shui.
Yep. So Hong Shui is a water tactic that will hit everybody in the... And we want to get Xiao Yu down. He is extremely dangerous in that he knows Ansha, which we will find out even more about that later.
Yep.
They can cast Jimmy on. Actually, we're going to use power pills. So you see he confused 2 of our party members. So they are out, and they can actually attack ourselves. Oh, we lost. Ooh, that is not good. All right. We can still get him down with power pills, but he also knows Wan Fu, which is a heal all, as well as Hong Shui. So he can, and this guy knows it as well. Okay. It's all right. It's all right. This guy's back. All right, we got him.
That's good.
First step down. Okay, he's back.
Go on. Yeah, okay.
Probably okay here.
So yeah, a little tight, but
okay. Any win is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fight's very scary.
yeah, at least we didn't see Ansha, which is good.
Yeah. I've not actually seen Zhuge Liang confused there in that one.
Mm-hmm.
That is a first. So getting his 10 here, going to pick up another weapon in a pot.
Another scimitar.
And we're going to do some more shopping. Everybody's favorite.
I've got a little bit to say, if you don't mind.
Yep, go for it.
Sure. An anonymous donors sent in $15 with no comment, but thank you so much for your generosity. And Giri also donated $5 with no comment. Much appreciated. I also want to take a moment here to shout out one of our new partners this year, Dragon Roast Coffee. Dragon Roast Coffee is a dedicated coffee for gamers and the gaming community. Their small, passionate team puts their hearts into roasting coffee to order with the mythical heat of Dragonfire, infusing a touch of enchantment in every sip. Make sure to visit their website at www.dragonroast.coffee and enter the promo code RPGLB25. At checkout, you will get 10% off your order. Every 10-ounce bag of coffee purchased, Dragon Roast Coffee will be donating $5 directly to Nami. Additionally, they also have an exclusive RPG Limit Break tumbler available only during this event. Stainless steel dual insulated tumbler will keep your brew of choice warm or cold, whatever your choice, all day, ready for wherever your adventure takes you. For every RPG Limit Break tumbler purchased, Dragon Roast Coffee is going to be donating an additional $15 to Nami. So what are you waiting for? Get out there, fuel your adventure with Dragon Roast Coffee today. Thank you.
That is an awesome name for a coffee place, and I'm really excited to try some.
I loaded up my shopping cart this morning.
Yeah, I was joking with my partner about the roast names earlier, the light roast, the Paladin, Necromancer.
Oh, nice.
Great.
It's awesome. Almost done with this menu here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once again, we're basically just loading everybody up. Power pills across the party, making sure we've got a few resurrects. And then, yeah, more smoke pots, because we've got a lot more overworld to continue to go over.
Yep. We're doing another safety save here. We're going to add one more party member. We're going to add Ma Liang. So he is a tactician that we picked up pretty recently here. And he's going to, first of all, hold a bunch of smoke pots for us. But most importantly, he's going to learn the tactic Ansha.
Does he already know this tactic, or does he need
No.
more levels to learn it?
So that's why we're doing the grind. So while we fought some enemies earlier, We are going to also fight some in the upcoming cave as well to get the on-shot tactic exactly when we need it.
Gotcha.
This is the snakiest part of the world map.
Yep.
We're just going around all these rivers that are all kind of like starting in the middle of the land, but then they go in different directions.
Yeah, I was talking earlier about how this run has sort of different paradigms for how you approach fights. On-shot is sort of the... I don't want to say it's entirely the final form, but it's
close.
a big part of the end game strategy.
Yeah, but not quite using it yet, so here we're kind of using that mix of what we've been doing lately, so increasing our own attack power. We're trying to negate some of their tactics, and then that powerful area of attack water tactic, Hongshui.
Yep, so like I said earlier, Zhao Yun here also has a pretty high intelligence, so he can do some good damage here and pretty often hit these guys. So this is kind of how we're approaching this one. Unfortunately, Ma Liang here at the bottom got confused here, so you would normally also be using Hong Shui against the enemy to damage him down. The most dangerous guy here is the first one here, Zhuge Jin. So that's why I'm using power pills on him.
Now, I know that your character's intelligence affects the chance of their tactics working. Does the enemy's intelligence also play a role in that? Is it harder to hit a tactic on a high intelligence enemy?
Yes. So that's why, like, Zhao Yun only has like a 50% chance-ish to hit him, while Ma Liang is a little bit lower intelligence, but his chance to hit is much lower because of it. So we got him down. So not too much of a problem there. Just a little slow.
300,000 food.
All right, so we're going to have to get about 3,500 XP here in this next section. It's quite a bit. So you're also going to get this Splint M that's just sitting here.
Yeah, this is the most random, like hardest to find, I think, out of all these random items, but nice piece of armor.
Another in trip.
Fortunately, there's an easy to find item in this town too.
Yep. And want to take a guess where it is?
Probably next to a well.
There we go.
So crossbow is actually a pretty good weapon at this point, but we don't really necessarily need to use it. It's not too much better than what we already have, so we're just going to sell it. So we use the smoke pot here to get over to this cave. And this is where we're going to do some grinding.
Yep, so we got another list of generals that are worth fighting and generals that we'd rather avoid. But it's also just great to find rebel forces like this.
Yeah, nice and safe. You don't have to worry about it too much. But you don't get quite as much XP. We're going to switch our tactician over to Ma Liang. First of all, that puts Zhuge Liang back in the party, who's already equipped with armor and weapon and stuff, where Ma Liang didn't have anything but smoke bots. And but also, since Ma Liang is the one going to be learning Ansha, and then Zhuge Liang is going to be in battle casting it for us.
No thanks to this fight.
We're going to see those guys later.
Yeah, this is who I thought we were seeing earlier.
Yeah, so this is the guy that is easier. Usu. The other cool thing is, like, when you have generals in battle, you actually get a different song.
Yeah, you get the general music.
Yeah.
We've captured him.
No.
We're good.
For sure not this guy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that damage.
Yeah, 16,000 soldiers is
Yeah, it's a lot.
a little bit more than what your characters have right now.
Yep. This guy's kind of on the edge if you can fight him or not. He can do a bit of damage, but
that okay?
Yeah, it turned out fine.
Yeah, Zhayun, totally fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's good.
17's all he needs.
You capture one.
All right, we only need about 500 more. So one group of rebel forces should do it. Maybe not this small.
Pretty close.
Yeah,
one more group.
We're close. We're close. But we'll take one more. Not you.
This guy really wants to fight you.
Yeah. Ouch. Oh no. That's all right. We have Resurrects. He'll come back with more soldiers, so totally fine.
Yeah, how do they know our weak spot?
Who did I give this to? You.
Yeah, you're carrying around so many consumables, it's really easy to kind of forget who's carrying what.
Yeah, I generally try to keep it on the same people, but like you said, like inventory, like sometimes you use power pills and sometimes you don't. So it's like really hard to keep track of who has Resurrects and not. So, all right, we're done grinding, so we're going to use Mapats to the rest of this cave here. And we're going to make our way to the next section. So we got a couple actually gate fights to a camp coming up. And the second one of those is the one where we need Ansha for. So I did that grinding, so we're going to learn the level right after this first gate fight.
This is when we can finally really hear the cave jam for the first time.
Yep.
Just want to give a call out to Capcom NES music in general. It's total bangers.
Yeah, so this is a good time to point out also that some of you might recognize kind of the music style. It kind of sounds similar to another game, possibly DuckTales.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out it is the same composer that composed
awesome.
this game as DuckTales.
I didn't know that. That's
He
cool.
actually did this game before DuckTales, right before it. Alright, so almost there here, and then we're going to do another all-out fight here. Actually, I might heal one room onto this because kind of low.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, who has it here? So this will just set us up for the next battle in a safer spot.
Yeah.
And plus, this guy can do a bit of damage, so he could take out some people.
And at this point, it tends to be a lot more efficient to just use your group heal in a fight rather than buy elixirs and then
Exactly.
heal separately.
Yeah.
I'm on the edge of my seat, ready to see this Ansha in action now.
Yeah, we've talked about Ansha a lot. We haven't actually said what it is.
Go for it.
So Ansha is essentially an instant death ability. It's literally translates to assassination. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of all or nothing. And when it works, it's great, and it's actually very, very powerful. One thing that's nice for us is we do know the chance of success of our specific characters using it on specific generals on the other side of the battle. So we're going to be kind of increasing our chance of success by having specific characters use it. So even though it might, we might be able to take out 2 in 1 round if we, with a lower chance of it working, we'll probably just use our character who has the highest success rate, who in this case is Julian, and just kind of letting him, didn't get it that time, but.
All right, we're off to a bad start already. Marathon lock here. So that was a 75% chance to hit there. So the actual dangerous guy is the Zhang Zhao here in the second slot. But the other guys can do a lot of damage to us. So he just cast Jimian.
Yeah, and one thing you saw Ash do before the fight was give Chitaman over to Zhugelang. So that way he gets the extra agility boost to try to get these Anshas off before the enemy generals get to take their actions.
We took his head. So yeah, back to Tilo's comment earlier.
Yep.
The time for taking heads has arrived.
Yeah, and the enemy generals will do the same to you in certain situations. So, there was the one fight earlier where Ash mentioned that the enemy general knew Ansha, and we didn't see it, but we'll see more of them that know it.
All right, we got is it 2 more tries here? So Zhang Zhao here is the dangerous guy in that he has Wan Fu. And has a bunch of dangerous tactics as well. So he's the guy we really need to take out. Oh boy, oh boy. Not great.
Yeah, this is tough.
Energy Mion ran out.
These are 50-50s
No, we
to
can't
land
do
them,
that.
so we just keep missing the coin flip.
So unfortunately, this is our last one. This is not good if we don't get this. Oh boy. Well, yeah, we don't have any of that. So let's do Beyond. Let's do this.
So like we mentioned earlier, there's no way to recover tactical points except by going to an inn. So if we use them all trying to get on shot to land, but it just doesn't land, then essentially we just have to rely on physical attacks, power pills to try to make it through the rest of the fight. But it's pretty tough when you have somebody who has strong tactics like Zhang Zhao.
Not to mention a lot of soldiers.
Yeah, we're probably not going to survive this one.
Yeah, this is-
unfortunately.
So leave it to the all out, see if we get some lucky critical hits, but
No. So we're gonna have to take a death warp here. If you pull up the, I've got backups for these, so keep going.
here we go.
So Liu Bei berates us for losing. All right, so unfortunately we gotta restock up here, and we also have to revive everybody. Of course, the people who are dead are the ones that have the resurrects.
The classic.
Always how it works, you know.
I should have done the other guy. But... Okay, to resurrect, speed.
But yeah, it could be pretty tough to get through this whole game without dying to one of these strong general fights, because you are relying on a lot of kind of RNG to, you know, go your way or at least not go against you. But there are so many boss fights where you're relying on that almost inevitably one or two of them end up just not quite working out.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was one of the more costly ones. So it's going to take a good chunk of time to get back there.
And in classic fashion, Ash was cruising through these in practice earlier today.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we need 2 gold wings.
Yeah, and the main time loss when we have one of these is really just like it's going to take a while to get back to the place where we had the boss fight, because we can't wing directly there, so we've got to replenish gold wings and we've got to replenish our smoke pots, and then
And the
make
overworld movement.
and
like,
then walk back there.
yeah. This one in particular is a little bit far.
But this is why it's nice to have things like that. Crossbow we picked up, can sell it for some extra money, replenish all the supplies here.
Alright.
So money's not going to be too much of an issue, fortunately. It's really just just a little time loss.
Yeah, thankfully you don't lose all of your money on death or anything like that.
Right. Not in this game. It's not Dragon Quest in that fashion, thankfully.
Yep.
So we gotta stack it all the way up on smoke pots here, because we gotta make the whole long trek all the way around and all the way through the cave. It's gonna be pretty long, so
Probably a good time if Diener's got anything that you want to talk about.
yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. More generous donations coming in from you, the viewers. $20 from Anime Fan X11. Thank you for your generosity, no comment. And $100 from Iron Furs. Also no comment provided, but thank you so much for your generosity. $50 coming in from Marcus Sparks. Nami Warmline helped me when my father died. Appreciate everything that they do. Just a reminder, we are here supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which serves as the preeminent resource for people searching for life-changing guidance, information, and support as they navigate their mental health conditions. Their website alone, NAMI.org, serves over 12 million unique visitors annually. Please, please remember to reach out for help if you feel you need it. You are not alone.
Lash taking the safety save here just in case anything happens again. Easy to reset and not need to restock all of your inventory or anything like that. Can just reset to get it back.
Yep, so unfortunately it's going to be a long walk all the way back there. But we will have more resources this time as well, so better chance the fight goes well.
Yeah, we are coming fresh off an in-trip. We've got our power pills restocked.
Actually, I did not restock those.
Oh, never mind. we've got TP though.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
More anchas.
More anchas. So you don't necessarily need the power pills in this section. It's more of a backup if in case something really goes wrong. You can kind of get by.
Yeah.
But
it's been happening for the whole game, but I always find it really interesting how the encampments work in this game, where like you can just go back out the way you came in, and like that's how you advance through the town. It's not like a front entrance and back entrance kind of thing.
right.
It's kind of interesting. There's some lava over there on the left side of the screen.
That it is.
Yeah, we almost never really have to walk through it.
You don't. At least not in the run.
But in this game, yeah, there are encounters in the lava, so it's not like a safe zone like it is in some games.
Getting the full cave jam.
It's great. Yeah, at least the part we're redoing is a part where we get the cave music again.
Mm-hmm. And it goes by much faster this time when you can smoke pot through the whole thing and you don't need to worry about any sort of XP or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
We're not worrying about the generals in here anymore.
Actually, I think I bought a few too many smoke bots, but it's fine. We just won't have to buy them later because we're going to do it again.
Yeah, we're definitely not done yet. There's still a part of China we have not been through yet.
All right, and this time you also don't have to do the first gate fight since that's already been cleared, so
Correct.
it'll also help a little bit with resources into the difficult one.
All right, take two. So,
Nice, great first run.
first try. What you like to see? Ansha doing his work.
So Jimian wore off immediately, but
Actually, I could have attacked there, but not a big deal.
yeah,
we go.
that easy.
There it is.
Yeah. Cool.
Alright, so this other guy's pretty easy. So that's what you risk with the Anshas. It's a 50-50 shot every time, or for the hard generals like this. So that worst case, it's a 50-50 shot. So if you lose that coin flip enough times, you can get in trouble.
Yeah, in classic RPG speedrunning fashion, you can see just how differently the same fight can go attempt to attempt.
Yeah.
You know, we like to talk about, obviously we've been talking about the Dragon Quest games throughout this run a little bit, and it's much the same in a lot of those speedruns too, where you can do the same fight twice and they can just be completely different fights.
Yep.
All right, so we're actually not quite out of the woods yet. We have 2 more battles here before we get to this castle where we'll get our wing point. It's a very long trek here. Usually these go pretty well. The second one can be a little dangerous. So same thing here, just guys here to beat you up. All out him nicely, but the second fight we're going to be using Ansha as well. But we got a little bit better chance to hit the generals. And the last one we don't technically have to Ansha, but he can be dangerous if we don't. So we will try it, as long as we have some to spare.
So when you're using the tactician that has Ansha, you don't have access to Beiji, right?
Correct.
So that's one of the main trade-offs between tacticians at this point in the run. And we talked earlier about how tactics go in sort of a certain slot and overwrite previous tactics, and it's not always clear whether it's an upgrade or not when that happens. And this is a good example of that, where one character gets Ansha and the other gets Beiji.
Exactly. So kind of like Zhuge Liang is our Beiji general whenever he's tactician. So we're using that strategy. And when Ma Liang we'll get another general that also has Ansha later.
Nice.
And he will be our Ansha tactician.
So that's good. Got both of them on the first turn. We're going to see if we can get Ansha on this guy as well. It's definitely safer if we can just get it, like Ash mentioned.
Yeah, so like you see, he knows Hong Shui here. Does a lot of damage. But this one is a coin flip as well. But we have 5 more to cast. So
Yeah.
Ansha costs 10 tactical points.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, and we have an in right after this fight too, so there's kind of nothing to lose from going all out.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how much of this run Zhuge Liang is still like really, really good for.
Yeah.
We've been swapping characters out pretty quickly after getting them. Like, it doesn't usually take too long to get a better soldier or a better general with more soldiers. But tacticians aren't always so cut and dry, and he is really good.
Yeah. That's why he's like kind of the main guy for the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
The original novels as well. So we're going to go down here to the shack. This is actually optional, and there's this group of pirates here that we're going to fight.
How many pirates can you fit in one shack?
That's a good question. Apparently over 5,000.
About 50,
50,000. Yeah.
60,000? Okay.
Yeah, a lot. So these guys are very low intelligence, so basically our whole party can use the on-shot tactic, and usually you'll take out the majority of them here. There's 2 left. I'll go ahead and go ahead and use again, except for fail.
There we go. Yeah.
All right. 1 left is fine. We'll just all out this guy. So the reason we're doing this is actually we're going to use it to pick up one of the legendary swords. So there's a guy in the previous castle that asks you to defeat these guys, and he'll give us something. So that's what we're doing. And after this, though, to set up for getting that, we actually are going to do more shopping.
Yeah, this shopping is pretty important to get right because we're going to be exploiting a glitch related to the legendary sword that we'll be picking up here.
If anyone's familiar with the Death Necklace from Dragon Quest I, this is somewhat similar, although not exactly the same, in that we're going to be using the full inventory, and the game not properly checking for things when you have a full inventory.
Yeah, but before we do that, big shopping trip.
Big shop.
Diener, anything you've got to read, this is a great time for it.
Sure, I want to call attention to all the great prizes that are available in this block. If you donate, minimum $5 donation will get you eligible for the Chain Chomp plush provided by Ghost Kumo. Pigmented provided the Final Fantasy VIII wooden case replica. If you think it looks great in the screenshot, it looks even better in person. Minimum $25 donation to be eligible to win that. Live Alive PC key provided by Possum Coffee. Minimum $5 donation to be eligible for that. $15 minimum donation, eligible for the Shy Guy tabletop miniature provided by Mr. Dean. And Super Mario locking storage box, minimum $5 donation to be eligible for that, provided by Heroic Spirit Gamer. Thanks so much for everyone who provided these awesome prizes. As a reminder, all of those prizes are going to be available to win if you donate between now until Landstalker, the Treasures of King Knoll, which is tomorrow morning. And some other exciting prizes that we've got that are a little bit longer term. The Wooting 80 HE keyboard, minimum $50 donation provided by Sanjan. That's going to be available if you donate at least $50 between now and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And until Dark Lord, if you donate a total of $75 to Nami cumulative between now until the end of Dark Lord, you will be entered to win the custom Nintendo DS Lite provided by Custom Game Boys. And of course, our grand prize, the Nintendo Switch 2 bundle provided by our RPG Limit Break staff. To be eligible for the Switch 2, you've got to donate at least $200 cumulative over the course of the entire marathon. If any of those prizes sound fascinating and interesting to you, make sure you get your donations in. And as a reminder, 100% of your donations are going to NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Thank you so much for your generosity, everyone.
That is a super awesome prize list this year.
Yeah, it's cool. Definitely, yeah. And thanks for going all in, knowing we have to fill all 8 inventory slots on all active party members. This is maybe the longest shopping trip in the whole run.
And if you're not aware of this, of course, we rotate the prizes throughout the course of the marathon as well. So keep watching all week, keep donating all week to be eligible for all these great prizes.
Cool. All right. So all filled up.
You save before doing this?
Yep. Just in
Always
case,
save.
just in
Yep.
case, you never know. You don't want this thing. You actually do not want to screw up. So we're also going to do a little bit of building. We're going to say goodbye to Ma Dai, and pick up his brother Ma Chao. So this is one of those things I'm going to do a little manipulation of this so I can make sure I get the right general with the right things.
So as mentioned earlier, when you swap characters in and out, the items are sort of remembered based on what slot that general is in. And so Ash is swapping characters out in a pretty specific order in order to get the items he wants on the characters without having to do a lot of inventory management, especially because right now his inventory is full on everybody and he can't really do any inventory management.
Yep.
All right. So we use the gold wing to come here. We're gonna really quick just throw a resurrect in that that open inventory slot.
All right, so we're going to talk to this guy that's going to give us one of the legendary swords that we, and he's going to thank us. He's going to give it to us. He's going to tell us to use it for good purposes, but we can't carry anymore. Our inventory's full. Oh, well, I guess we're going to have to get rid of one of these power pills. Let's talk to him again. Oh, he's got a sword. It's named the same exact thing, but our inventory's full. All right, well, I guess we'll get rid of one of these power pills. Let's try it again. Maybe he has another sword.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not, right?
I guess the blacksmith wasn't necessarily that specific about how many of this sword he made.
No, I guess he wasn't.
Yeah.
Right? He could have made a bunch of them.
Yeah, I mean, one for like every soldier in your army, right? You've got thousands of soldiers, so...
Yeah, what good is one sword really going to do?
So if you haven't caught on, the game does not mark the sword as picked up if your inventory is full. So we can get, as long as our inventory is full, we can get infinite Qinglongs here, which is the second best weapon in the game. Among some of the other legendary swords, they're pretty much equivalent.
Is the sword also valuable if you wanted to pick up extras to sell if you needed money? I know it's not really much of a concern at this point in the run, but can it also be used for money purposes?
Honestly, don't know.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever tried selling it. All right, so now we got some really good swords that we're not technically supposed to have at this point. And we're going to use them for good purposes.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the coolest parts of the whole landscape. These mountains kind of come together in this spiral star shape. And as long as you know the way through, then
Yeah, and there's absolutely nothing in those other directions.
it's kind of a nice landmark.
All right, so now we're gonna kind of take our approach to Sun Quan fight here at the castle. And same thing, we're gonna go through these gate fights, kill off these guys with Ansha and attacking. And these gate fights are pretty straightforward. We're actually gonna go back and refill after the first 3 here. It just makes it a lot more consistent and safe to get through this section. And it's not a far walk.
So here's a question. I've noticed you doing this a few times throughout the run. What is the mechanics behind attacks retargeting? If you target the same character, like the top rebel force with multiple characters, does it always just choose the next one down? Does it choose a random enemy?
So if you do a physical attack, yeah, it always chooses, if that character's dead, it will choose the next one in line. If you use a tactic, like a single target tactic though, that attacks one, it will waste the turn.
Okay.
It does not, and it spends your tactic points. So only physicals will retarget. So that was our last level. We learned a very important Samyan
134 tactic points.
And 134 tactic points is actually high for not getting the Wanfu level, which we didn't talk about actually, but that's fine.
Yeah, essentially there is you only get extra tactic points on your levels if you're learning a tactic, and there was a level that we got where we did not have a tactician who was able to learn a tactic. So we could have gotten 3 to 5 more tactics points, and but if you're kind of landing over 130 at this point, then you're feeling pretty good about the number of tactic points you got.
Right. So more tactic points you get, the more Anshas you can cast, right?
Yep.
Alright, so we're still getting levels pretty quickly here. We're getting into the 5 to 6K range here pretty soon. Alright, so we're gonna go back and take a quick in-ship to restore our points. And we'll make a short walk back there and do the last 2 battles.
One more time through the mountains.
Spiral Mountain.
It's really amazing how fast this game moves. Like both in terms of, obviously the menus and the movement are both quick, but you're fighting battle after battle after battle, and
it's really fast.
The tactics are changing, the strategy's changing. The different generals have different tactics you need to deal with, and so there's a lot to try to keep up with on the fly, and it really does move quickly.
We have a little bit less success rate for Ansha on this. We did through the gate fights that were leading up to the castle, so that's part of why Ash wanted to go take that in and get the tactics points restored, because sometimes it takes quite a few where you're, for this guy, it's 63%, I think, on this guy now.
No, this is a better chance because Zhuge Liang is...
Oh, now
is
Zhuge
guessing it.
Liang is, yeah.
Alright, so now we defeated his kind of cronies here. Sun Quan shows himself.
Now here's the jam.
Yeah, so this is the first general who is immune to Ansha, right?
Yep, that is correct. So there are 3 generals in the game that are immune to Ansha. We will find the other 2 soon here. Thankfully, you can usually all out this fight.
Ooh, wow. Okay, I mean...
Okay. Usually. So Sun Quan is now dead. We have conquered Wu. Woo!
And yeah, we've got enough gold too. And there's kind of a gold check there. But fortunately, with being able to sell those extra items, even having to restock wasn't an issue.
I got 2. Okay. Just want to make sure I have enough resurrects here for this section. 2 should be enough. Should be. Alright, so we're going to do another little quick shopping trip. This is not too bad. We're just going to drop our wooden helmets that did very good work for us. These things lasted quite a long time. So we're going to upgrade these.
again. They are clearly at this point not worth taking the time to sell.
Yeah, dropping items in this game is really fast. It's almost too fast.
Yeah, there's no confirmation or anything like that. It's gone.
Yeah.
Yep, and because of that, I am pretty careful on some of the menus. Just on the important ones, just be safe, you know. If I accidentally drop one of these, it's not a big deal. I'll just buy another one. So.
Yeah, it's really easy because you're usually menu wrapping, so you're usually using up to get to the last item, and so it's either 2 up or 2 down to get to equip. So because you just usually used up, it's really easy to go up twice to get to equip, but that means you're going over drop.
Yeah.
And you can make some bad mistakes that way.
And that's why I specifically changed directions in that menu, so that does not risk doing that. All right, so we got some more another gate fight here that's pretty easy, all out, and then we got a more difficult little castle fight that we will be using Ansha once again.
It's pretty awesome that this far into the run there are still fights that you can all out on.
Yep. 2 and 1.
Yeah, see, they're trying to Ansha us there now, yep.
Yep. So they also have Ansha. They got Jimihan. They have Wan Fu. And we got the important guy there. We got them both. So
Nice.
perfect. So those were actually pretty low chances. One was 50% and one was like 42%. So got lucky on that one. Very nice. All right, so now in this town, we're going to actually pick up our last party member, which is right over there. Last general.
But first, another inn.
Yep.
It is really nice, though, in this game that usually after a big, hard battle, you're allowed to just use an inn immediately after, because you're capturing a new town, essentially.
Right.
So it works out pretty nicely.
So this is our last general. He's actually going to be our new Ansha general, Zhang Wei. We're actually going to do one more quick shopping trip here to buy better armor.
Plate mail.
And this is what we were checking the gold total for, specifically, is so we can upgrade everyone from chainmail to plate mail here.
And there we go. All the way down to 5,000 gold. Alright, gotta equip these guys.
Is equip.
Always equip. Never forget.
You bought it, you might as well equip it.
Yep. It's very true.
Taking advantage of those free steps on the bridge again before using the smoke pot.
Yep. So this section, we're actually going to end up walking through this a total of 3 times. The game, one time is on purpose because we want to refill, but the other 2 times are going to be kind of by design, by the game, the way the game works. We'll find out.
Yeah, and this is essentially the last part of the world map we have not yet been across. So,
Yep. So this is the region of Wei. So we're kind of chasing after Cao Pi now, is our next big bad guy that we need to defeat.
So this is sort of the final region of the game, right?
Yes. So again, we're doing Ansha on this first guy, but he is a 50-50 as well. We do want to conserve some tactics points, hopefully, for this next fight, because it is a kind of a dangerous Cao Pi fight. So hopefully we win this 50-50 early-ish. We don't spend all our points.
How many points does Ansha cost to cast?
10. So like I said earlier, when we got those extra tactics points, this is when that matters, right? you get one more cast to Ansha, it can kind of save you in spots.
For sure. Okay, there we go. Not too bad.
Yeah, should be okay for this one. Alright, so this is the first fight we get with Sao P. So this is a guaranteed back attack every time, so they always ambush us. He casts Jimmy on, so we won't be able to do any physical attacks, but thankfully to start this fight we're going to actually be using Onshot to take out the 2 extra generals. Because Sao P is one of the 2 and 3? One of the 3 generals that are immune to Asha. As well as he knows it.
And he knows it too,
Yep.
yeah. So it can be a little scary for sure.
Missed one.
Okay.
That's okay. Get his Jimmy on we're off so we can start beating up these guys a bit. Oops.
Yeah. So just having Zhuge Liang use the Ansha's now for the highest success rate.
Right.
Very nice.
Alright, so like I saw earlier, this guy knows Ansha.
there it is.
There goes Guanxing. As long as we don't lose another guy, we should be okay. Or at least get him low in HP, because he'll start using a heal tactic, and it kind of wastes his turns. He casts Jimmy on. We're not doing any damage to him. Okay. We're off.
He's healing.
Okay. No problem.
Not too bad. Yeah, so that guy can cause a lot of problems.
Oh yeah. We have one more fight with him coming up. So now we're going to actually go back and refill. We're actually going to take the opportunity to do an extra fight. So the reason we're actually going to fight this general in the town here. So they actually post generals in towns like this that when you go, oh, I'm talking to an NPC, and then all of a sudden you're ambushed, right, by a general. The reason we're doing this now is actually because the way the rebel forces work is that the way they get their level basically is from the whatever region they're in. And because a town doesn't have a region, it takes whatever the previous region you were just in, which was a higher level one we were just at. So we came back to a lower kind of level region. So that gives us more XP for this fight. So it's going to guarantee us... oop, there he goes.
Yep, see it.
And it's going to guarantee that we get a level that when we need it. Right, so I bought a couple extra resurrects there just because we lost a lot of people and we were pretty low. I think we were maybe down to 1. Actually, we might have used them all at that point. Right, so like I said earlier, we got to make that trek 3 times. So this is number 2.
Can I get a quick one in here?
Go for it.
$10 donation from Hockey Babbler. Here's my $10 ticket to the hype train to help cast Ansha. Always want more Ansha luck for you.
We still have plenty more to land.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, we're starting to get close towards the end of the game here. We have one more fight with Sao P, and then we have one more big baddie after that. We will find out who he is after that fight.
Yeah, in classic old RPG fashion, you don't get to really know who the big bad is for quite a while.
Well, if you know the story, you could kind of pick it out, I guess. Even though it's not exactly following novels, but...
I was going to say.
But, yeah.
I'm curious how many people play this game are familiar with the story going into it versus, just playing this game as it is. Because, I mean, I know I tried playing it somewhat recently, and I know nothing about the story, and it made it sometimes very difficult to follow.
Oh. So,
Yeah, for sure. I think if you're familiar with kind of the world, you would think there is another pretty important family and character that you haven't seen or really heard from very much yet. But there are so many people kind of around in the original story that you might not really realize it.
Alright, so we're going to be using Ansha here to take out these lower intelligence generals. Unfortunately, that failed. That was a 75% miss there. Not the end of the world. We'll just have to kind of slowly work them down. So we actually need to save some tactics points again for the second Sao P fight. So we don't want to spend too many.
And there are definitely times in the run where if you were really grinding for like a PB or top time, you could stretch your TP a little more and take some chances to end the fights more quickly, but at a risk of, well, you might just lose the run if you don't have enough for the fight where it matters.
Yep, exactly. Like in this case, I could cast Jimian, so these guys aren't wasting time attacking us. They just do a little back and forth quick, so that makes this fight faster. Those kind of things you could do, but obviously that eats tactic points, so...
This was pretty similar to the first gate fight, where the one that was really likely to landed, and the one that was, better odds than not didn't quite make it.
Yeah. It happens. Alright. So now we got the Sao P fight. We're actually going to purposely enter this castle on the left. And that is because it gets us out of water tactic range. And so the enemies can't use it on us. Because we're not going to be using them in this fight anyway. So this is another, this is another one that's scripted, caught off guard. So it's not a surprise, but ideally we don't see Jimian here. Okay. So same as before, we're going to use Ansha to take out the bottom 3 big generals here, and then hopefully we're getting in good shape and we can take out Sao P. So I use Wan Fu here just to heal Ma Chao up.
So that's the single target full heal.
Yep.
That's one of the things we really don't want the opposing generals to do in certain fights coming up.
Yep, for sure. Ansha, Jimian are off, but not a huge deal. This fight's usually easier just because the fact that we got a lot more soldiers.
Yep, there's one.
Ansha, yep. Right. So all of a sudden, Sima Yi, who's this? He comes, he attacks Sao P, he attacks him again, he betrayed him.
Gives us some awesome music.
Yep.
So he's killed Sao P. And he uses his thunder to send us back to the inn that we were just at last.
Don't really know what happened after the thunder, but it was overwhelming.
Yep, it sure was. So unfortunately, Ma Chao, we do get a full heal there, but Ma Chao was dead, so we're gonna have to take the inn again.
So yes, Sima Yi is kind of he arrives after you defeat Sao P there and says, well, I'm actually going to rule over this part of the kingdom, so you guys go home. You can't even deal with me. And it's true that right now we don't really have a way to get past his thunder attack, which doesn't even let us fight him, essentially. So there is essentially a story way where you learn how to get past it. It is something that we know already, so we don't have to go figure it out. It's specifically a series of D-pad inputs, which will allow us to bypass the thunder attack and actually get into battle with him. So rather than worrying about any of that, we're essentially just going to be preparing to head back there and fight him again. Well, fight him for the first time, really.
Yeah, this first time he kind of just fought us with his lightning.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot we could do.
Alright, so we're going to move Zhuge Liang's equipment over to Jiangwei here because we're actually going to change tacticians to him. So we're going to actually be using, you guessed it, Beiji.
Yep.
So that's what we need. But it's not actually the Beiji tactic that we need to defeat Sima Yi. It's actually the Samiyan tactic. And only Zhuge Liang learns that, I believe. But that's right. Maybe Peng Tong actually learns it, but we don't get him.
Yeah, and if you didn't figure it out yet, Sima Yi is the last of the 3 generals who we cannot on-Sha, so
Yep.
we've got to fight him a little bit more fairly.
Yep. So that tactic that I just mentioned, what it does is it prevents the enemy from using tactics. So what we talked about before, Wan Fu is a bad thing for us to see from the enemy, and Sima Yi knows it, and he has 40,000 soldiers. So he is very likely to use it, and if he does, you lose. You basically lose.
The fight just gets away from you.
Yeah. And they just end up doing so much damage, you just can't keep up. So we need that strategy to actually beat him. And so we're going to be using it actually all 3 times we fight him. So we're going to fight him 3 times total. And this is the first one. So this is the first one we're actually going to be back to attack.
Yep, so Ash is putting in the D-pad inputs there. Oh, but...
I missed it. Apologies.
Yeah.
That was my fault.
So, yeah, there's a limited amount of time to be able to get it in there, and specifically you have to kind of do it during a pause in the text. So you wait until there's kind of that break there, and then it's almost Konami code, but not quite. Up, down, down, left, right, up, down. So not a big deal. Refill on smoke pots, walk back again. Fortunately, it's not that long of a opening track.
That was pretty slow of me. I should not have done that, but not a huge deal.
Well, I got a couple of more comments here in the meantime while we walk back.
Go for it.
Anonymous donor sends in $25 with no comment. Thanks again for your generosity. $25 from Cow Ness. Glad to see so much Dragon Quest representation this year. Haktical tells me Aiden Chronicles is, quote, technically a Dragon Quest game. So you already know we can expect more vibrant graphics and good tunes coming up right after this.
Oh, interesting.
I see.
Stay tuned for the lore.
Thank you so much. And one more really exciting donation. Ragnar donates $200. Ragnar flings the sword of donation.
Wow, okay.
Tell you what, that actually did do something.
Yeah.
That didn't do nothing. It made our donation total go up, and if I'm taking a look here, we're only $100 short of reaching $5,000.
Very
So
nice.
if you could find it in your generosity to donate more to Nami, we appreciate it here at RPG Limit Break. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks for the donations.
Big fan of the specific instances where Ragnar flinging the sword is effective.
Mm-hmm.
It might be the second time I've seen that happen.
All right.
All right, we are back.
Pretty sure I put it in the first time. I must have hit a diagonal or something, so it happens.
So yeah, as you see, Sima Yi there, 40,000 soldiers. So you know this guy is important.
All right, so this is the strategy. We're going to use Beiji on everybody here, and we're going to use Samiyan to stop them from using tactics. We're going to keep Samiyan up the whole time. Hopefully it stays up. And then we're going to be using power pills.
Yeah, and like we mentioned earlier, it's a 5 in 8 chance that it stays up every round.
So with Meiji and the power pills here, we're doing quite a bit of damage with our weapons.
Even though
as
he's
you
got
can
40,000 soldiers, they drop pretty quickly.
see. Yep.
Those legendary swords.
Yeah, this really is kind of the power of that sword duplication glitch. Getting that legendary sword on everybody. We would be doing a lot less damage with these power pill attacks if we didn't have those on everyone in the party. You could go out of your way and get some of the other legendary ones, but that would be a lot slower.
So I should take one more round here, wear off, so he could, in theory, get a Wanfu off before our tactic goes up again.
Okay, nice.
We're safe.
Yeah.
So there was the Wanfu. You saw him try it.
Yeah, so Chitsuma on Ma Chao there, helping us out.
Yep.
Allowing us to get the good agility roll.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. So the rest of these guys don't know any tactics, so we can easily all out them. All right. So then we reach Runan. The first of 3 CMIE fights, like I said earlier. And to get to the next one, it's going to be a very long walk through 2 caves. And to get through it, you guessed it, we're going to have to go shopping. So take away dinner if you have anything more. This is a long one.
All right, 1 second. Just give me a moment here. As always, want to remind everyone, we are here supporting NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They are the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization whose work is focused around 3 main pillars: education and support, awareness, and advocacy. What does that mean? Well, let's talk about awareness. NAMI drives the national conversation around mental health from coast to coast and across all demographics, having appeared in major media more than any other mental health organization since 2021. Over 24,000 earned media articles in top-tier outlets, including NPR, CBS News, CNN, and the BBC. I'd also like to take some time to talk about the RPG Limit Break store. From hoodies, coffee mugs, even fanny packs, you're sure to find your new RPG Limit Break branded gear. And the best part is, all proceeds from that store go directly towards fundraising RPG Limit Break, so we can continue to bring these awesome live events every year and continue raising more and more money for NAMI. To visit our online store, please visit store.rpglimitbreak.com.
And there's definitely some cool RPG Limit Break merch that you can find there. I think we all enjoy supporting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I already bought something.
Viewers of my stream will frequently see me sporting the RPG Limit Break mug. It's perfect size.
So yeah, Ash was starting off by clearing up some inventory space on a couple characters before going into the shop. And then, as you can see from this last fight, power pills have sort of regained their usefulness, so stocked up on power pills across his characters. And now he will be buying all these smoke pots for the traversal to the caves that he mentioned. But, for a period of time in the run, it was sort of Ansha focused, and the power pills were more of a backup option. But at this point, there's going to be a little bit of both strategies that are going to be needing to be used based on the fight. So.
And hey, one more thing. Since we're heading down to the final stretch here on this run, I want to bring attention to the bid war we've got coming up for the next run, Aiden Chronicles. We've got Name the Main Character that is still open. Right now in the lead, $60 is Kirk Buzzer. Hank with $25, and Goose with $5 are also on those lists. So if you want to support Kirk Buzzer or any other name, Let's get those donations in soon, as Destiny of an Emperor is going to be finishing up soon.
Yep, so we're making our way through these caves here. They would normally have quite a few bad generals you don't want to see, but thankfully we can use smoke pots all the way through here. They also have some really good items. In the first one here, we're not actually going to pick up anything. In the second cave, we're going to pick up probably the most important item in the game, if not probably tied with Chituma is pretty good too, but it's the best weapon, which is the halberd. So the halberd is so good, it's actually twice as good as the second best weapons in the game, which is what we have already. So we're going to be putting that on Zhao Yun, and since he has kind of the highest strength and highest soldier count, and he's going to be doing the most damage for us there.
These caves are like really cool layouts too. They're pretty unique, pretty interesting. Every cave looks a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's pretty nice you can move so quickly in this game too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you hit a dead end, it doesn't feel like it's going to take a long time to backtrack.
All right, so the second cave here, it's a little shorter, but we will be picking up some items. So the first is the halberd that I mentioned, which is right up here. Gonna move Zhao Yun's weapon over to Zhuge Liang, because he's going to be using that later. Put that on him, and we'll pick up the halberd. And equip it. Be extra careful with equipping that one.
Yep.
You only get one, unfortunately.
Ash also using their, the inventory management to sort of direct that treasure chest onto the character he wants to equip it, by having the characters out of him have full inventories.
Yep. So in that chest right there we just passed was another one of, oops, I should have used the pot. Well, you get to see some of these generals that we don't want to see. This chest is just the wing. So in that chest was another legendary weapon that's basically equivalent to the one we duplicated earlier, so not useful for us at this point. Alright, and we're out. So we got one gate fight here that's an easy all-out before the second Sima Yi fight. So this fight here, this is where we calculated our experience, so we will have a level up. But not for any tactics, because we're actually done using learning tactics in this game. It's actually for getting more soldiers. So notice Zhang Bao here has over 10,000 soldiers. After this fight now, 4 of the 5 generals here will all have over 10,000 soldiers. And like you talked about earlier, the number of digits you have is a straight up multiplier to how much damage you do in this game.
Yep. Physical attacks using the power pills are going to be really important in this next fight. So yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more damage from anyone who has over 10,000.
Alright, so we gotta set up turn here that we hope for. Hopefully the right generals that need to go first, and we're gonna buff up Zhao Yun here with Beiji, and he's gonna be using the halberd to do a bunch of damage here.
So it's good turn order.
Yep. So we should see this. Zhao Yun is a slow general, so he usually goes last. But there we go.
7,000.
Yep. Very nice.
That's everything coming together there. It's great to see.
Remember in the last fight against this guy, we were hitting him for about 3,500.
Yeah. So yeah, it is kind of that literally that it is the halberd, but yeah, just going from that 4 digits to 5 digits.
as well. Yep.
Zhao Yu bringing his own thunder to Sima Yi.
Yep. All right, so we actually do need to conserve some tactics for this fight coming up. So we don't want to have to cast Samiyan too many times, which unfortunately it's worn off every turn so far, which is quite bad.
We'll need one more turn after this one.
Right. Because Simeon costs 17 tactics points, so oh boy.
Oh man, every turn.
That's not good. You know what? Sorry. Gonna back that up.
Yeah, so the idea here is Zhao Yun can take out Sima Yi.
Yeah, so all these attacks that would have been somewhat wasted, focusing him down, he's
Yeah.
getting a head start on the next general.
Alright, so this should take him out. These other guys actually are kind of dangerous. This guy in the second spot, Ang Chu here, does know Wan Fu as well, but since he has lower hit points, the range that he will cast it in is a little bit less. Okay, we got him. So the rest of it went well. Unfortunately, we were pretty low on tactical points here. Oh no! So we got one more fight here before we get kind of a good return point to get to the very end of the game. So it's just we're going to be switching tactics to our Ansha. Let's check how many we got.
35 is pretty tight.
Not good. So that's 3 Anshas we got. And we have to hit a 50-50. We don't actually have to hit it. We can all out and beat him, but it's a little difficult to do. You don't always do it.
I believe.
Yep.
50-50s.
We'll see. We also need to take out another guy just to make this kind of survivable if we do miss it. You know what? I'm going to play this a little safer. So I'm going to take out the easy guy here with Zhuge Liang because he has a 94% chance to take him out versus an 80% chance for Zhao Yun.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go for the other guy at the top. So we got 2 Anshas to hit the guy at the top here, Chun Huo. Cast Jimian. So let's hope we hit one of these. Channel your Ansha luck.
Okay. One more. Okay.
Nice.
All right. So again, if we did lose this fight, we could have still technically won the all out, but it would be hard with two big generals left here. But it would have been a long walk back through those caves.
Yeah.
So thankfully, we got it. A little scary.
What would an RPG speedrun being without a little bit of hold your breath moments?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Do you have any power pills left that you could have used there if it came down to that sort of situation?
I had like 2 or 3.
Okay.
Not too many. But without Beiji, it's kind of a lot weaker.
Of course.
So here's the last section of the game here. We're going to change our formation.
As we go across this bridge, we're actually going back essentially to the first area of the game. So kind of full circle around the whole map of China now.
All right, so we switched to a never before seen formation. Is our triple Ansha formation here. So we're going to be casting Ansha with 3 generals that all have pretty good intelligence stats here. And we should be able to plow through these fights pretty quickly. The second one's a little, is the only one that control you with misses, but usually this goes pretty straightforward. As I say that,
One nice thing here is it's pretty easy to just walk back and use the N again, so it's not too big a deal to use the TP here.
yeah, so if we do have to spend too many here, not a big deal, yeah. Just a little time loss. We kind of have a little bit of extra budget too because we're kind of high on tactics points, so. So this will be our last level of the game.
Yeah, those soldier counts really start to escalate on these later levels.
Yep. So this guy in the second slot here, Chen Chun here, is the kind of the scary one because he does no Wan Fu. And it's a 50-50 shot to on-shot him. So at this point, we are going to have to go back and refill. Two more on-shots here to try. We can't all out this guy.
I have to.
Yeah, we might have to. He can be a little tricky because he will cast Wan Fu a bunch of times, but I think usually you can beat him as long as he doesn't confuse your team. But we got him.
Yeah, the all-out against someone with 20,000 soldiers doesn't seem as bad anymore once your entire party has over 10,000 each.
Yeah. Alright, so we got one more gate fight here, and then we will have the last two fights of the game. So this one's a little easier than the last one. They're more susceptible to the on-shot. And the generals themselves we can all out them pretty safely, so.
Of course.
Yep. This is some marathon on-shot luck here. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna go refill. If I first tried those guys, I probably would have gone on to the next fight, but this next one is the fight before the last are against Sima Yi's two sons, and they are very, very strong generals that both know Wan Fu and very bad tactics. There's no way you can all out them and win. So you pretty much have to use either the Ansha or the we get a really early fight here.
Yeah, mention we're back in that early zone of the game here. This guy, this
You
general,
capture the guy.
Yeah,
It'll be helpful.
I don't know,
yeah, general with 300 soldiers fighting you.
but we need all the on-shots we can get for these guys. Oh, caught off guard.
Okay, not too bad.
Yep, so they know Ansha as well, so they can Ansha you. I've had them Ansha Zhuge Liang on turn 1 twice, which is like I think less than 1% chance that happens.
We're getting taunted.
Yep. So that's the other thing, they will taunt us and then use a really slow spell or tactic against us. That's the fire tactic. Not a great start. Zhang Wei hitting is about a 1 in 3, and Zhuge Liang is another coin flip. So after this one, I might switch to only using Ansha with Zhuge Liang, just because I don't want to waste the points. Is Jimmy on one off at least? I can get rid of these guys. Yeah, they're taunting us still. Oh,
Oh,
all right, watch out. That's fine. That's not fine.
yeah. So every one of these from Zhuge Liang is 50-50. So we've failed a few of those from him, plus the 1 in 3s from the other one on those first few turns. So 6 on-shots left here. 5.
Yep, this is definitely some marathon luck.
Yeah, this is really happening.
So I have died to this fight. It's not a big deal. You just have to kind of to walk back and do it again. But he's still taunting us.
Yeah. I'm too busy thinking about how much we're getting paid. Not enough about. There we go.
Here's one. All right, got rid of the Rebel Force too. All right, so we got 4 left. Another 50-50s again in this guy. I shouldn't have done that practice run earlier.
Yeah, used it all up. Never practice.
I first tried both of them. All right.
Okay, well, made it through eventually.
All right. So,
However,
yep. So now we go right into the last battle of the game here with Sima Yi. Unfortunately, we are not equipped to win this.
so we'll be using the Gui Huan tactic here. This essentially is like an escape tactic. So if it works, that's great because it's a little bit cleaner, but death warping here is fine if it comes down to that as well. We do need to regroup, especially just from a what tactics are available to us in this final fight, because Ansha is just not very useful here, unfortunately.
Yeah. We pretty much cannot beat Sima Yi with the Ansha strategy. All right. So unfortunately, we failed them all. So we're just gonna have to death warp. So get some more of the cool battle music at least.
Yeah. And the tactic sound effects.
Yep. Yeah, so the dangerous guy is obviously Sima Yi. We're going to be targeting him first, and then the Cheng Yu guy here in the 4th slot is the other guy. We can do some nasty tactics. The rest of the guys only do physicals. So when we return here, those are the guys we're going to be targeting.
It's kind of a nice touch. I think it's the first time we've been able to see it, that when the other army wins, they also do the little cheering animation.
Alright, do we have enough resurrects? We should. Just have to do this right in order, so the person who's resurrected can use theirs. Alright, so everybody's back up. We're just going to do one little shopping trip here. Should be fairly short. We also need to change our tactician. And get Guan Cheng back here in party. I will restock these resurrects as well, just in case.
So one last shopping trip, mostly to refill power pills on everyone, because for the final battle here, we are going to go back to kind of Beiji strats here. So we'll Simeon to keep them from using tactics, Beiji to get our attack power up, and then yeah, it's mostly just going to be trying to do as much damage as quickly as we can.
Yep.
Put that halberd to work.
Yep.
So yeah, any last calls, Diener? This is going to be it before the end.
Yeah, one more thing I'd like to say here at the end. RPG Limit Break is incredibly grateful to LLK, a longtime contributor to GDQ Marathons and the designer of our promo banners, attendee badges, and emotes. I love those attendee badges. I've got my collection with me. Check out her work at jazzaboo.com. That's JAZAABOO.com. Thank you so much for your contributions. And one last reminder, this run is going to be finishing soon. Aiden Chronicles is coming up next, and our donation incentive to name the main character will probably be coming up right at the start of that. So,
Yep.
Now's your chance. Get your donations in for Aiden Chronicles, name the main character.
Yep, so we did our shopping, we're ready to go. The path we're taking back to the end here is actually back from the start of the game. So if you remember, here's where we picked up Chitu Ma, and over here is where we fought Lu Bu for the first time. Oh, the memories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some say we're still pursuing him.
Yeah,
Feels like decades ago.
yeah. At least 3 hours.
This walk is an essay in the good old times.
All right, so here we go, final fight. So it's gonna be the same setup, Beiji, Semyon, and Power Pills. Oops. Unfortunately, he got the Jimian casted before ours, so now we're gonna have to wait that out before we use Power Pills.
Finish buffing up in the meantime.
Yep. He's trying to use it again.
So right now, we are unable to attack, but we can use tactics. They are unable to use tactics, but they can attack. So,
Yeah,
where we're
it's
at.
pretty funny. It's kind of a stalemate here. We're just waiting for them to wear off.
Yep.
And hopefully the right one wears off and not the wrong one. Well, all right, that was the right one.
Okay. Good.
All right, nice.
Do enemies in this game have like a limited amount of tactic points, or do they have unlimited?
Unlimited.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. So that's why you can basically, you have to kill Sima Yi this way, because he has Wan Fu, and he can cast it
Can't stall them out or anything.
infinitely. Yeah. Damage.
Good.
Getting there.
Probably won't be able to kill him this turn, but next one. Just a little short.
Yeah. Watch out could finish him off, even if Simeon had worn off, but it didn't.
So moving down to Chong Yu there in the fourth slot. Like Ash mentioned, the other kind of dangerous tactics going to come from this guy.
Yeah, we didn't really mention it, but the other thing I really liked about this game are like the character portraits you get for each character as they attack when you're selecting their tactics. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah, and the game gives you pretty good ability to like get information. We haven't really seen it, but you can examine like enemy generals and such to see what their stats look like and what tactics they have, and you get like the overview screen that Ash has used a few times to like kind of view your whole party at a glance. And
Yeah.
So pretty much using the last of our power pills here to finish off Chong Yu.
Yeah, and also going to heal here just to, we don't necessarily need it, but just makes this thing pretty much free to win here. Cool.
One last all out.
Yeah, so this is the end of CME and the end of the game coming up here pretty soon. We're going to have to do one more thing, like we've done throughout the game, is invite Liu Bei to the capital of China.
As if he needs an invitation.
Yeah.
He's going to be really proud of what his son did for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, oh, my son, where are you? Oh, you're in the reserves. Okay.
Yeah, you're just stuck there. We didn't fire him though, at least.
Yeah, at least we
He's
didn't
still
fire
there,
him.
yeah. One more invite. There we go. Liu Bei has arrived. One more NPC dodge. All right, so time's going to be at the end of the dialogue box here, and I will call it out. And time.
All right. Nice. GG.
GG.
Thank you.
Nice run. Definitely ran into some marathon luck there, but
Yeah, so yeah, I was thinking I was going to finish, well, still underestimate, so
yeah, totally.
that was still good. Otherwise, I would have finished much faster, but the estimate proved real, I guess, this time.
Yeah,
But,
having the backup ready for Chompu when you took that
Yeah.
kind of rough death was really good.
Yeah. So, credits here are pretty short, but I want to say thanks to the Destiny event for community out there. I know Tilo, he donated earlier. He's done a lot of work at kind of gathering information. He made a randomizer even. And of course, ACMLM, he was the first guy I ever saw play this game back in like 2012 or something, and it made me play this game for the first time. It's a really cool RPG. And there's just a few of us in the Discord, but hopefully this gets more people interested, at least playing the game and experience it, because it's a really good RPG for the NES. Also, thank you for you guys.
Yeah, of course.
Commentary helped me out
For having us.
for sure, and Diener on the host definitely helped me out in the shopping sections. I have to pay a lot of attention in this game. And,
Happy to help.
Yep. Even then, I made a weird mistake with the thunder input, but things happen.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Special thanks to Willow.
Yeah, and Mo.
Mm-hmm.
And Capcom.
Yeah, and this is the end screen. So thanks to Capcom for making this game, and thanks for you guys watching. And stay tuned for Aiden Chronicles. Haktical here is running it next. Yep. Thank you.
See you there.
Awesome run. Great job. Everyone put your hands together for EvilAsh25. While we get... Tantrum Merch is excited to partner with RPG Limit Break for the first time to launch an exclusive merch collection supporting NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. This lineup includes 7 unique shirt designs, a cozy blanket, a sleek journal, an enamel pin, and more. Plus, for the first time, our very own real-life Mimi plush with an opening lid to store your treasures. From bold graphics to heartfelt designs, $5 from every sale, excluding the Mimi plush, goes directly to charity. Explore the full collection now at tantrummerch.com/RPG Limit Break and help us make a difference. And while we get ready for our next part of the show, we'll be running a short ad break here. Stick around, RPG Limit Break 2025 will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. RPG Limit Break 2025 coming to you live from Denver, Colorado. We are proudly raising money for NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Did you know that roughly 1 out of every 5 Americans live with a mental health condition? We at RPG Limit Break are proud to be raising money for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, a charity that works tirelessly towards cracking the code of mental illness through various means such as education, leadership, and increasing the availability of care. Please join RPG Limit Break in supporting this incredibly worthy cause. I'm always so happy to be here at RPG Limit Break. Not only do I have tons of fun playing these great RPGs with all of my very special friends that I've met here, but the fact that we come here and raise money for NAMI means so much to me, and I'm sure it means so much to a lot of you watching too. So thank you so much for your generosity throughout the entire event, and we really can't do this without your support. So thank you once again. Coming up next, we've got an interview. Kiara will be chatting with EvilAsh, who just finished Destiny of an Emperor. But before we do that, I'm Sumdiener, and my duties up here at the host desk are coming to an end. Just gotta say, it's been a blast as always, and I'm proud to be turning things over to a Dragon Warrior 4 speedrunning legend and a good friend of mine, anatoleu. Now, let's send it over to that interview station, a chat with EvilAsh25 and Kiara.
RPG Limit Break. I am Kiara_TV, and I am joined by the runner of, the awesome event that we just saw, which from what I understand, maybe the RNG could have been better, but this is EvilAsh25. And, I want to just kick things straight off with, first of all, congratulations on finishing the run.
Oh, thank you.
And, how do you feel about it overall? How do you think it went?
Yeah, so to be honest, that is like the worst RNG I've ever had in a run of that game. So it was definitely marathon luck. So we got that this time, and I was kind of half expecting it because we did a practice run in the private room earlier, and everything went perfect. Like first try on shaws, and generals just falling left and right, no problems at all. So in this case, it showed its head and got back at me.
Yeah, it's a marathon. It's bound to happen. From what I understand, this is the first time that it's been seen at an RPG Limit Break, so it's super awesome that you were able to bring it. So I wanted to, probe a little bit more and ask, this game specifically, what kind of gravitated you toward it? Because I had no idea this game existed until I saw you running it, and I was like, oh, this looks I may have to give this a shot. Having however many different characters you can recruit all the way through, it must have been a nightmare to route, I feel.
Yeah, so this game kind of attracted me initially because it's kind of similar to the Dragon Warrior and Dragon Quest game.
Yeah, I was looking at that, the way the overworld map worked.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how I first saw it. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And then the other piece was like how unique the battle system is with the generals. And like you said, you can recruit all these generals up to 150 in the game.
150, that's ridiculous.
So it's pretty cool. And like the other piece that I really like is like how fast the game moves. Like there's pretty much no downtime. You're constantly moving, doing stuff, menuing, and it makes the run really fun.
Yeah, I was looking at this and I was, having a chat about the auto battle system that's in here, and Dragon Quest IV had a little auto battler built into it that came out after this game. And I was like, is this one of the first games that kind of really had that kind of system built in?
Yeah, if not, it's the only one that I really know that had that at the time is this game, because the only other thing I could think of is like maybe other systems had it, but not on the NES for sure.
Yeah, it seems like super early. I saw that this is a really forward-thinking feature to have this for a game that grinds like this. Stepping away from the runs and the speed runs, I know I've been seeing your name in the Link to the Past randomizer credits for the last 7 years of every seed I play, and I know you really love to dive into the weeds of games, really figure out how they tick. And I'm just curious of any projects you'd like to talk about, either currently working on or things in the past, other stuff that you would love to go dive into.
Yeah, so for me personally, I'm more of a science kind of guy on the speedrun side, so I like getting into testing new strategies, running scripts in an emulator to see, okay, let's try this and run it 10,000 times and see what the percentages are for something to happen. And that's kind of how my favorite thing about speedrunning is, not so much the grinding and just trying to get a good time. I like discovering things about a new game and helping other people bring their time down and showing off games in this instance that have never been seen before in a marathon, live marathon at least. So that's kind of stuff that interests me in games. So at the time, back when I ran Chrono Cross a long time ago, at the time, the time came down a lot after I brought in a bunch of new strats and looked at other people doing strats and kind of combined it at a time. And that's kind of stuff I like doing.
Yeah, it's a really an amazing contribution. You can grind for world record, which is perfectly valid, of course. Yeah. A lot of people will spend a lot of time doing it, but a lot of the stuff, speedrunning for pretty much any game is a big collaborative effort, and people like you, going in, doing the math, and figuring out optimal ways to do things, even if you have no interest of grinding for that record, you undoubtedly leave your fingerprints all over the game.
And it's not just me. There's a lot of people that do this type of thing behind the scenes. You just never hear about them, but they're definitely well known in their own communities.
Absolutely. So thank you for doing that. Speaking on Chrono Cross, I wanted to touch on that a little bit because you have been coming to Limit Break. We're at our 10th year of RPG Limit Break. And you've been coming since 2016, where you did the Chrono Cross run with Spike Vegeta way back when. So with all the experience that you've had, both as an attendee, running throughout the years, would you give any tips to anybody who is thinking about, potentially submitting a run to Limit Break? You mentioned you don't have to, be someone going for world record. If you're passionate about a game, you can kind of submit. But I would love to hear, your thoughts on that matter.
Yeah, first thing is you definitely want to be passionate about the game. You've got to enjoy playing the game. It's got to be fun to you. And the other piece is there are games out there that, this one's never been in a marathon. There's a lot of them out there that people really haven't touched that yet, and there's definitely potential for those types of games to get in, as long as you put in the work and learn how to do it properly. Look at other runs if there are other runs out there, and that's kind of my approach to it.
Right.
But other people like the grind, or just jumping in. It's all right, I'm just going to learn as I go, right? Do run after run after run. And you could take different approaches.
For sure.
Just how you like approaching it.
Yeah, there's no one right way to do speedrunning. You put a timer on there. Heck, you don't even have to do RTA runs at all. You can just, be part of the community, help out, and this math really interests me. I'm going to go through and figure out an optimal strat. And I've never touched the game. I never intend to run it, but this part's really cool. I want to do. I know a couple people who've gone through and do that. So.
Exactly.
Looking ahead, so we're only on day one of Limit Break. There's so much left to go. Are there any runs coming up in the marathon that you are particularly excited about?
Well, the one I'm most excited about is the next one coming up, actually.
Hey, look at that.
So this is the Aiden Chronicles run by Haktical. He is my good friend. So he helped commentate on my run just now. And this is also the first time that Aiden Chronicles has been in a live marathon.
Well, there you go. Back-to-back first timers.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's really cool to see games like this get in.
Very good. I want to divert now. We got a whole bunch of wonderful prizes that you can get by donating at rpglimitbreak.com/donates. I got a couple up here that are going to be here through Landstalker, through the end of Landstalker. First of all, we have this wonderful little chain chomp plush. Look how cute it is. It's got the chain and everything. It's there. And this is going to be a $5 minimum donation. Thanks to Ghost Kumo, our very own Ghost Kumo, for providing this. It's super, super, super cute.
It's nice.
I don't want to pick it up because I fear I'm going to break it, but this absolutely gorgeous Final Fantasy VIII wooden case replica up here on the shelves here, if we can get a close zoom in on that, is really incredible. The detail on this, the camera doesn't do this justice. Trust me, this thing is amazing. It's 3D. It's got a back as well with some more awesome things. And that is going to be a $25 minimum donation. Again, thank you so much, Pigmented, for this. There's a whole bunch of these that we have in the back that we're going to be seeing throughout the marathon, and they really are absolutely
those are really cool. I really like those.
Yeah, and EvilAsh, towards your left here, we got, what's this that you got over here? It looks like, oh my gosh, it's a Super Mario locking storage box. That's going to be a $5 minimum donation. Thanks, Heroic Spirit Gamer, for setting this one in. And, if you can hold that out, I'm going to teach you how to be an awesome prize handler, all right? You're going to hold it out, you're going to, point to it, look at that, wonderful, wonderful work, EvilAsh. You're a natural. So it's going to be a $5 minimum donation. I'm sorry for the, from now until the end of Landstalker. But I think I heard something rattling around in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that, I should probably check and make sure. Oh my goodness. I found something in here, EvilAsh. In fact, it's another prize inside the prize. Now, I'm going to try and hold this as steady as humanly possible. This is a Shy Guy tabletop miniature. This is the smallest thing I've ever seen. It's so cute. It's got tiny little patches of grass. And I'm going to try and my best to keep my hands steady. But this is going to be a $15 minimum donation from now until the end of Landstalker. It's super, super, super cute. Get a little rotation here. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I can't believe how small this is. Big thanks to Mr. Dean for donating this one to us. It's super adorable. I hope I do not lose it because otherwise someone's going to be very, very disappointed in me. I'm going to place this back down right here very carefully. I do want to remind everybody that we have our grand prize running throughout the entire event. That's $200 cumulative throughout the marathon to get entered to win our Nintendo Switch 2 bundle. Donated by the RPG Limit Break staff. So we don't have anything to show you yet because, as you all know, it's not out yet. But we got one, and it's going to be given away to somebody, some generous donator of this event. So if you want to donate a small amount for one of these prizes, you find something else that catches your eye later on, it will all count towards that $200 cumulative donation. EvilAsh, thank you so much for coming on right after your run. Not giving you a break at all here.
That's all right. Thank you for
but
having me.
it was awesome. You're an awesome guest. But we're going to go ahead and throw it back to the front. So stay tuned for more RPG Limit Break 2025.
All right, hello. I am Anatoleu, and I'm taking over hosting from Some Diener, legendary Dragon Warrior 4 speedrunner. Some Diener, great work on the host chair. Thank you so much. I'm coming straight over from the commentary couch over to the hosting booth, and excited for this next run of Aiden Chronicles: The First Mage, the #1 RPG on the Nintendo 64, being run by Haktical. And I do believe we're ready, so Haktical,